Goru Anemiya was a dedicated doctor who loved an idol, inspired by a former patient who had once expressed that if she were ever reborn, she would want to be her favorite idol. In a twist of fate, Goru met this very idol, who was pregnant with twins, and believed it was his destiny to deliver her babies. Tragically, Goru was assassinated by a crazy stalker before he could fulfill this role, and was reincarnated in a new body. However, after an unforeseen betrayal, Goru vows to seek revenge on the bastard responsible for the murder. The anime begins with a Nutaku doctor named Goru Emiya obsessing over a J-pop idol named Hoshino. However, he soon finds out that she is going on hiatus due to her poor health condition. Upset over this, the nurse calls him a lolicon. Goru explains to her that he idolizes her because of one of his past patients, named Sarina Tendauji, who dreamed of becoming an idol. If she were ever reborn, she would want to be the child of a celebrity. Goru tells her there is no need for her to be reborn since she is already cute, and when she is discharged, he will be her #1 fan. Sarina jumps happily at him, asking him to marry her, and Goru replies, "When you turn 16, I may consider it." Unfortunately, Sarina died at the age of 12, and Goru says he follows Sarina's favorite idol to keep her in mind. Goru makes his way to a patient's room while worrying about Ai's condition. As he looks over his papers, he notices that the girl in the room is only 16 years old and pregnant. While they are talking, the girl takes off her hat, and Goru instantly recognizes her as the idol, Ai. Trying not to freak out, he steps out and has a little grieving moment. He then goes back in and informs Ai that she is having twins. But her producer tells her that having children at such a young age will ruin her career if the public finds out. While sitting on the rooftop and thinking about Sarina, Ai appears and tells him that she doesn't have a family and wants to give birth to the twins she has, but without telling the public. Goru comes to a settlement that he will personally deliver her children to her, as he believes it is his destiny. 40 weeks have passed, and Ai's kids are about to be born. Goru decides to go home for the night and wait until she calls him. On his way home, a hooded man asks if he is the doctor of Ai. However, since she used a fake name, he becomes suspicious of how the man knows her real name and chases after him. Goru quickly loses sight of the man and looks over the cliff when he is suddenly pushed from behind and murdered. Goru wakes up as the baby of Ai Hoshino, and his new name is Aquamarine, along with his new sister named Ruby. Although Ai can't remember people's names well, she tends to forget even her children's names at times. It's been a year since then, and Ai has been out of the industry for a while until today, which is the day she returns to being an idol. The producer has a meeting to discuss what to do with the kids and puts his wife Miyako in charge of watching them. Ai asks her producer if she can take the kids, but he instantly declines, telling her that if she does that, she can kiss her idol career goodbye. Aqua notices that as a mother, Ai is hopeless and reckless. However, due to the other two, things will work out. Ai goes to work, and Aqua turns on the TV, only to discover that his mother almost accidentally revealed something on her first day back. Fortunately, she saves herself. Ai's performance takes over the whole studio, and Aqua is so delighted to watch her that he is grateful to his murderer. Ruby wakes up and joins Aqua. She is also someone reborn, like Goru. Aqua realized that much earlier when Ruby was caught on the tablet. However, they both are unaware of their past identities. Aqua feels bad for Ai for having two weird bizarre sets of twins. Meanwhile, the murderer of Goru is also watching Ai's performance, slamming his hands on the desk and going crazy because of the kids Ai had. Later, when Aqua notices that unlike him, Ruby is actually accepting breastfeeding from Ai, he asks if Ruby was a girl in her previous life. Ruby nods, and he decides to let her slide. While Ruby was talking about a creepy Netaku who is obsessed with her mother, obviously she is talking about Aqua. Ruby has a diaper accident, and Miyako starts changing her diaper, but regrets her decision to marry Seidu and ends up having to babysit someone else's kids. She had hoped to meet handsome young models, but seeing that her plan failed, she got an evil idea: Ai's maternity health book, and started taking pictures of it, intending to reveal her high-paying magazine. Aqua realizes that the size difference between them is significant, so killing Miyako is out of the question. Aqua and Ruby decide to act as special beings sent by God. Ruby's performance helps a lot in convincing Miyako, saying that the penalty of death awaits her if she fails to comply with their demands, and the reward of having a second marriage to a handsome model is what Miyako was sold for. Later that night, Aqua covers Ruby with a blanket on the couch and thinks about how her passion resembles Sarina, his old patient. Ruby wakes up, thinking she heard something, but ignores it, as there is no way Aqua would call her by her past name. Ai notices that her current salary is only 200 yen a month, which cannot provide a good life for her twins, nor would she be able to send them to the best schools. After Ai leaves, Ruby and Aqua confront Miyako about this issue, and she responds with the troubles of joining the industry and the slim odds of becoming an idol. Meanwhile, Ai is not feeling motivated and opens social media, only to find a user pointing out that her smile seems off, putting Ai in an even worse mood. The twins forced Miyako to take them to the shoot because they were very worried about their mother. Miyako strictly told them to avoid anything that would attract attention to them. The performance began, and Baikumachi had the whole audience pumped up. Meanwhile, Ai keeps thinking about that comment. As a professional, she practices her fake smile in front of the mirror, making it perfect to every millimeter. Suddenly, her attention diverted to the overly excited twins who were more pumped than any of the other fans. Aqua and Ruby got carried away, while I gave a genuine smile on seeing how cute her babies are. Someone made a video of them and uploaded it on Twitter. With over 2 million views and thousands of retweets, having Miyako gets an earful from her husband. The same person who complained about Ai's smile now comments that this is what he wanted. Under the picture of Ai smiling over her babies, a year has passed, and it is no longer suspicious for Ruby and Aqua to talk in front of others. After using a difficult phrase and receiving a head pat from her mother, Ruby surprises Ai. However, instead of suspecting anything, Ai thinks that Ruby is a genius like her mother. Since the promotion event, Ai has been getting more and more gigs, and she finally makes her debut in a drama series with a minor role. The twins again force Miyako to take them along to the shoot. Aqua bumps into the director, who warns them to throw both twins out if they start crying. Aqua panics and gives a detailed apology, which piques the director's interest. The director hands him his card and asks how he knows such high vocabulary at such a young age. To avoid suspicion, Aqua states that his enriched vocabulary is all thanks to YouTube. The director has a talk with Aqua, explaining the hierarchy, how they have to cast the main girl with strong agency, assign a side role to the most talented actor, and offer a newcomer like Ai the opportunity to bring freshness to the scene. Ai gives a perfect performance, as looking cute in front of just a camera is easier than in front of a whole crowd. Ruby and Aqua join Ai to watch the episode at their home but are agitated when all of Ai's scenes are reduced to just a single faraway shot. Aqua took out the director's card and scolded him over the phone. The director apologized, saying that he was pressured by the big agency of the main girl. The focus had to remain on the lead girl being promoted. However, Ai was too pretty and was stealing all her spotlight. The director explains that Ai's scenes were cut because she was too good. To rectify the unfortunate event, the director offers Ai a role in his movie, but only on the condition that Aqua agrees to accept a role in it as well. Aqua agrees to this bartering. However, the movie is just a low-budget project. Upon arriving on the set, Ruby rolls on the floor, crying and wanting to go back to her mother. Aqua wonders how she is not embarrassed to act like this at her age, not that he knows how old she actually is on the inside. Kana Arima, another child actor in the movie, interrupts the movie. She then insults Ai, saying that her one-shot scene in the recent drama was so bad that they decided to cut it out. Aqua and Ruby put all their strength into not trying to murder Kana at this moment. During the scene, Kana gives a flawless performance while Aqua is certain that if he tries to act, he will just end up ruining the scene. However, when the director reveals that he only wants Aqua to act naturally for this role because he finds him creepy even without acting, Aqua gives a perfect scary performance. This leads to Kana getting upset over being overshadowed. 3 years later, the movie was released and it was very well received. Even though everyone did a good job, the one who carried the whole movie was undoubtedly Ai. She started landing more high-profile work after that. The twins started preschool, and whenever Aqua would try to ask Ruby about her previous life, she would evade the question. During dance class, Ruby runs away and Aqua follows her, learning that Ruby had never danced before. Ruby had spent the majority of her life in a hospital room, and putting dancing aside, she had to try very hard just to walk. Even if she tried, she would end up falling. Back in her room at night, Ai helps Ruby practice dancing, and Ruby's dream to dance like her idol, Hoshino, finally comes true. Aqua notices his sister's exceptional dance moves, along with her great acting skills as well. He gets a scary thought. Maybe a part of him thinks that this girl could actually be Sarina. Ai notices her babies reaching weird conclusions about their father, so she calls him to give him the address so he can meet their babies. Sato celebrates with Ai and his wife for finally achieving his dream, an idol he had nurtured to make it to the dome. During Ai's first meeting with Sato, she tried to scare him away by sharing that she had been a single parent since birth. Her mom got arrested for stealing and she was transferred to a children's home. Even after release, her mother never came to get her, so Ai is unfamiliar with the feeling of love. Sato convinces her to fake love until it becomes the truth. However, Ai still longs for the day when she can tell her children that she loves them. Before the concert, the doorbell rings and at the door is the same stalker who had killed Aqua. From behind the flowers, a dagger came out and stabbed Ai. Ai remembers her good times with this family while the stalker complained to her for feeding them lies. However, when he realizes that Ai was expressing love to them in her own way, he runs away and commits suicide. As Ai was slowly dying, she held Aqua, patting his head while Ruby was slamming on the door and crying. Ai told them that she wanted to see them grow up and one day tell the world that they were her children. She tells Aqua and Ruby that she was glad she had given birth to them and finally tells them that she loved them from the bottom of her heart as the stars faded from her eyes. After her death, Ruby looked through Twitter to find negative comments about her mother, including ones that said it was bound to happen or that they weren't surprised. She alters them all to die and slowly wants to die herself. Miyako then asked Aqua and Ruby if they wanted to become her children officially, since she felt like they were her kids too. They agree as Ruby runs into Miyako's arms. At Ai's funeral, Aqua realizes that the stalker was being fed information about Ai's hospital and her new address. As her circle is limited, the only one who could possibly do that is their father, who is also a part of the acting industry. Aqua sets a new goal for himself in this world. He decides that he will not die until he takes revenge on their bastard father with his own hands. Aqua then asks the producer to raise him. The director accepts Aqua's offer and a couple of years have passed since the death of Ai. Aqua and Ruby are now in middle school. Ruby has decided to follow the same route as her mother and become an idol. However, last time she didn't meet the requirements, but this time around she does. Her friends tell her she has the potential to be an idol, although she may need to work on her singing skills a bit. Ruby begins walking home, thinking of her two biggest secrets. One is that she has memories of her past life, and the other is that Ai is her real mother. Ruby starts rethinking the moments with Ai and shouts, "I'm going to be an idol like mom." Aqua taps her head, telling her that entrance exams are near and she needs to focus. She tells him that when she becomes an idol, she won't need high performance scores in school since they don't focus on your grades. She is beating two birds with one stone. Aqua tells her not to gamble her life over little factoids, as he proceeds to tell her the negative sides of becoming an idol, such as money, unwanted attention, and retiring at a very young age. Ruby gets irritated at Aqua, saying that life isn't supposed to be about taking risks, as she imagined herself in the hospital. He decides to leave it at that and goes to the director's place. Transcribed, Ruby explains how the death of their mother has changed her brother. He always has a gloomy face and seems like he has been up to something ever since he became the apprentice of the director. However, Aqua isn't the only one who has changed. Ikigo Ai's producers fell out of contact, and Baikumachi, who was on Ai's team, disbanded after losing her. Strawberry Production no longer has an idol department. Ruby suggests to her adoptive mother that she just put together another idol group. But she tells her that it is not that easy. Ai was a very special person and gave them an experience no one can easily forget. As Ruby does the job longer, it becomes clearer to her that miracles don't happen like that twice. As Ruby was thinking over what was said, she received a phone call from the idol industry, but was unfortunately rejected, or so she thought. As it turns out, Aqua was the one who had rejected her, pretending to be the agency in order to protect his sister from becoming an idol. He wanted to do what was best for her and told the director that he wouldn't let her follow in Ai's footsteps. The director says that Aqua had quite the sister complex. Aqua replied that it was better for him to be alone, as he alone could take care of everything. However, Aqua's plan doesn't exactly work out, considering Ruby is scouted by another agency shortly after. Ruby continues to tell Aqua and Miyako about how Ai became popular only because she was scouted, as this must be a sign. However, Miyako and Aqua have their doubts that this agency is actually real. Miyako asks her if she has looked over the contract, to which Ruby replies that she will get to look at the contract after they show her around the place. They both give her a doubting look. Aqua begins thinking of a way to stop her, even if that means bad-mouthing the company with his own hands. He takes the Strawberry Company card to pretend he's a scouter and invites a girl who was in the same agency that invited Aqua into the production room. She thought that since Aqua was young, he was going to trick her into doing something bad. Miyako glares, thinking this is already a nightmare for her. Aqua questions her about the contract they are required to sign, including the vibes there. She replies that her pay is less than what she agreed on. She doesn't receive enough money, and the studio favors some girls and puts them above everyone else. Miyako tells Aqua that this is how the idol industry works for most companies, and putting together an idol group full of young girls would be very difficult now. Aqua tells her that he is not going to let her join an agency where rumors like that are spreading. Aqua suggests hiring that girl for real to Miyako, but Miyako tells him that she would never hire someone who badmouths their colleagues. Ruby begins to get ready for her big day of visiting the agency. Miyako asks her if she's ready for this and tells her about the hardships of becoming an idol, including the possibility of gaining a stalker. Ruby says she wants to become an idol just like her mother and will make it come true. Miyako tells her not to join that particular group and instead join her agency, the Strawberry Productions, as they plan on making a new idol group for the first time in over a decade. Ruby happily agrees and signs the paper. Miyako tells her that it is official and warns her that even though she is technically her daughter, she will be sued if she tries anything. Aqua goes to the director's house to edit a film for him. The director begins talking about Aqua's sister and asks him if he's okay with it. Aqua replies that he doesn't care since it's better than having her perform with some unknown group. The director then asks if Aqua has an itch for acting again, but clarifies that Ruby is the only one trying for the performance school while he himself is trying out for general education. The director reminds Aqua that when he first asked him to raise him, Aqua had a spark for acting. However, Aqua's intention at that time was not to become an actor, but rather to get closer to finding his father, who had gotten his mother murdered. He tells the director that he has no skill for acting compared to Ai. The director says that he sounds like an ape and needs to stop comparing himself to Ai, as he will never be her and she will never be him. He tells him that everyone has the right to dream, and he was about to, until his mother busts into the room. Aqua begins to question why he's 40 and still living with his mother. The director tells him that he's too young to be acting like an old Joe and advises him to follow his dream. Aqua and Ruby arrived at Yoyudo campus to take their tests. They both passed with flying colors. Ruby's beauty was enough and Aqua's knowledge from his past life got him outstanding results. As they were grouped at the window, a girl heard Aqua's name and instantly knew he was the same person. She did the play a while back. She got excited that she could finally see Aqua again, but he told her that he wasn't applying for the performing act but for general studies. Aqua replies that since he is worried about his sister, he has decided to apply there, and Ruby tells him that Aqua has a sister complex. Ruby whispers to Aqua that she never likes her, but Aqua informs Ruby that she will be in junior if she is accepted. She decides to accept it and try to be friends, calling her lowly senpai. Aqua walks away, but Kana follows him, asking him annoying questions. He turns around and asks if she's a delinquent or something with all these interrogating questions. Aqua asks her how long she intends to follow him, and Kana replies that she will stop following him when he answers her questions. The first question is about whether he still does acting, and he replies that he doesn't do that anymore. He tries to walk away again, but she continues to follow. Getting closer, Kana asks if he wants to go somewhere to catch up. Aqua replies that it's an extreme way to try to get closer, but she informs him that since she is considered a celebrity, she can't just go to a regular shop for a chat. Aqua decides to take her to the director's home, as he points out that he hasn't seen her since she was little. However, since Kana is still acting, she takes it as an offense that he doesn't watch her plays. Kana asks Aqua why he attends the director's home if he doesn't do acting, insisting that he does acting on the side. Aqua replies that the director only trained him in the basics of acting. However, he wishes to work behind the scenes as the director's assistant. Kana is happy to find out that he is still in the industry even if it isn't as an actor. They begin eating dinner and Kana says that it's shocking that she never figured the director would be a sponge, leeching off his parents like a parasite. The director tells her that she still hasn't learned respect yet and is still an annoying rascal. She asks the director if he has any videos of Aqua acting, but Aqua instantly tells him not to show her as he has no skill for acting. Kana tries to get him a lead in the play she's currently doing, but Aqua instantly refuses again. However, hearing the name of the film sparks his interest a little, but he tells her that he is through with acting. As Kana was talking about the film, she mentioned the producer's name, Masaya Kaburagi, and this sparked Aqua's interest. When I died, Aqua decided to check her phone for clues about the killer. However, one phone had a password, and day after day, he would try to unlock it. After 4 years and 510 attempts, he succeeded. When looking through her contacts, he found someone named Masaya. Aqua decides that he will enter the film, as Kana warns him that things will be a bit problematic. She calls the producer, and he agrees to let him on set. Miyako informs Ruby about the film Aqua will be in, and Ruby begins thinking about when her mother told her that Aqua will probably grow up to be an actor, and she will grow up to be an idol. However, Aqua didn't get the acting job because of Ai's ambitions. He only wants to get closer to the producer that she interacted with. Miyako fills them in on the film called Sweet Today. She tells them there are up to 6 episodes, and only 3 of them are released, and Aqua will be playing the villain in the last episode. Ruby tells him he'll be perfect for that since his face looks like a villain anyways. They decide to watch one of the episodes, and let's just say that they were all disappointed and unwatchable. As Ruby says, it's just downright awful as the actors all sucked, even counting Kana. Aqua tells Kana what Ruby said and she flips out. She replies that there are hardly any high schoolers who can act as good as she can. Aqua wonders why it turned out like that, and Kana says she is being held back since nobody knows how to act. And if she went all out, she would stand out, leaving the other characters with no attention. Kana also tells him that when the author of the original manga came to the film, her face was full of disappointment since the actors and the staff behind the scenes had worked hard. Kana decided that at the very least, she can appreciate their efforts and dial down her acting a bit. Aqua is happy to see that Kana has grown a bit since they last met, since the old Kana would have wanted all the glory for herself. She tells Aqua the schedule of the things they'll have to do in the film, and Aqua realizes not only is the play a mess but so is the schedule. They begin to think about when they were kids, and Kana chewed out Aqua for rushing through the script. Now, she is the one making him rush through the script. She takes Aqua's hand, telling him it doesn't matter who trashes her, and asks him to make a good show with her because she believes it's possible with him. Aqua decides to study the film and slowly begins to think that maybe they can pull this off. They arrive at the studio, and Kana begins explaining to him that they only get one practice run as they don't have that much time. Aqua tells her that it's pretty sloppy and that even his director could somehow do better than that. Melt Narashima, the male lead of the film, comes over, but Aqua gets ignored when he tries to introduce himself. Kana informs Aqua that since he is still young, he thinks he's bigger than what he actually is. As Aqua turns around, he also introduces himself to the director, who Aqua suspects was involved in the murder of Ai or maybe even his biological father. Aqua wants to get a piece of his DNA to test the results when he gets the chance. The film begins with Aqua as the stalker who follows the female lead around. Aqua notices how funny fate is to end up portraying the stalker who murdered him and Ollie. The play goes on, but water drips from the rooftop, causing the male lead to get distracted and forcing them to start over. Kana tells him that his acting was just fine. Aqua replies that it is something anyone can do if they are trained for it. He begins to rethink his last play with Kana, thinking that the only reason his acting was scary was because of his age and his mentality. But now that his body has caught up to him, he's just a dull silver dime. Kana gets excited that since she is the main lead, it's her job to give it her all. But Aqua slowly crushes that by replying that he was surprised that she was still acting, since he hasn't seen her lately. Kana mentions that it has been rough for a while as people began forgetting about her, but she kept practicing even when times were down. But now she is happy that she is finally being recognized for her hard work. Aqua goes outside where he overhears the director talking about how Kana is easy to use. Since she was laid off from her former employer, she is now just a dirt cheap actress who he can still use to obtain a little recognition. Nonetheless, he sees her as nothing more than a tool. The director dumps his cigarette in the trash and Aqua obtains a bit of his DNA. However, after thinking about what he said about Kana, he decides to go out with a bang. Where Aqua notices the leaking water from the shed's roof due to rain. The crew has already taken notice of the places with puddles, so they have altered the marks in such a way that actors do not have to stand on them. Aqua drills the scene into his head one more time, as he has already memorized the entrance, surrounding set, camera placement, lighting, and his appearance in the cutaways while rehearsing. As the shooting continues, Kana stands in front of the camera and thinks about the air around her becoming thick with tension, since all eyes are on her once the camera begins to roll. A long time has passed since she was called a genius actor during her childhood days, and now she thinks of this chance as a test. Being pampered by everyone during her golden age, she wonders if it was her lack of talent or just a change of mind in people as they got tired of her. Right now, the internet only addresses her as the expired child star or former genius star. Even after her prime time passed sometime after elementary school, she held on to this industry, hoping to get a chance once again, and finally manages to land this long-awaited lead role. She intends to grab all the straws to turn this scene into the best one. Note that by straw, she means Aqua, our protagonist. Kana knows that the cast is solely based on good looks and not acting skills, which has turned the show into a disappointing piece of art. Till now, 4 episodes have been released, and the audience has expressed their disappointment by giving it just a 1-star rating. The project has already been labeled as a failure, yet Kana wants to go all out with this last scene as it is an original from the manga. The scene is basically a showdown between the hero and the stalker. The leading girl has never been loved before, and this is the first time she will feel protected, hence she sheds tears of joy. This scene is the most beautifully written scene of the whole story and is the favorite of most readers, including Kana. She would always read this scene over and over again and cry. The leading male character, Melt, is not very strong when it comes to acting, so Kana plans to synchronize with him to back him up. This way, the scene might turn out just as the author intended. With high hopes, she begins the scene, but all her plans are ruined when she realizes that this purple-headed arrogant monkey is just too bad. He might turn into a good actor way ahead in the future, maybe when Deku stops crying, or when Inosuke gets Tanjiro's name right, or when Saitama finds a worthy opponent. She gives up on her hopes of turning this scene into the beautiful moment it actually is. It's finally time for the grand entrance of Aqua that we have been waiting for. He intentionally walks over the puddles so that the mic picks up the sound of his footsteps, as it would enhance the intense mood. As he begins to say his dialogues, Connor realizes that Aqua has improved even more since they last rehearsed together. Being fully aware of his lack of acting skills and possessing a captivating aura like his mother, Aqua decides to utilize everything he can, including water puddles and props, to turn this scene into a masterpiece. He mocks Melt by getting closer to him and whispering that he is really ugly up close. Melt gets triggered and loses his composure, becoming seriously angry at Aqua. However, this is exactly what Aqua wants, as Melt is finally showing the aggression that the hero showed in this scene. Aqua proceeds with a creepy smile that a stalker usually has. The crew notices that Aqua is improvising his lines and ignoring his voice. The guy in charge can see the positive impact Aqua is making, so instead of telling him to stick to the plan, he tells his underling to make the lighting stronger. Meanwhile, Kana also senses the change in the scene due to Aqua's presence and can see the scene resembling how it was in the manga. As the director pointed out, Aqua has the skill of quickly understanding the story and reading the author's mind, so he sets the stage for Kana to go all out. Proceeding with the scene, Aqua takes out a dagger from his pocket and licks it in the creepiest way. He charges towards Kana, and at this moment it feels as if Aqua is no longer acting and would stab her for real. Vault saves the heroine with a punch, and even after getting bruised, Aqua keeps up with the creepy smile, just as a creepy stalker should. After ending his dialogues, he looks at Kana, who puts on a beautiful smile filled with hope while shedding tears, just like the heroine in the manga. With this, the scene ends perfectly. Melt approaches Aqua to apologize, as the punch was supposed to be fake, but his fist actually hits Aqua's face for real. Aqua tells him not to worry, as he intentionally moved it in his fist's way for the scene to play out better. Thanks to this, Kana was able to go all out. For the final scene of the day, Kana has to express the face of a girl who has just fallen in love with the main character. And even though it is not shown in the anime, it is safe to assume that she was thinking about Aqua while doing this scene. After a week, the author of this manga is woken up by a coworker while she is sleeping on the floor of her office. In response to the question of why she was sleeping on the floor, she explains that she will fall into a deep sleep in her bed, but she can wake up in about 4 hours if she sleeps on the floor. After working for a few hours, she decides to take a break and watch the latest episode of Sweet Today, which has just aired. Her friends have already given up on this show, as all their hard work got the same end as all the characters in Akame ga Kill. She shares that it's not surprising for her precious manga to turn out like this, as it is an adaptation of a completed manga that cannot be continued. The artists whose manga have been adapted before always advise against getting one's hopes up. Her words are not in sync with her eyes, as she starts crying when the episode ends and feels thankful to have received this drama adaptation. Most of the viewers have already stopped watching this series, so only the core manga fans or fans of the cast kept watching until the end. Therefore, this last episode never went viral. However, it received a lot of praise and attention from the remaining community on the internet. At the wrap party of Sweet Today, Kana starts talking to Aqua about scandals, and then this sneaky lowly senpai asks if Aqua has a girlfriend. He replies that he does not. After the author of the manga thanks Kana for her amazing performance in the last episode, Masaya, the producer, approaches Aqua. He has already conducted DNA tests on Masaya's sample, and it turns out that their DNA does not match. However, Masaya states that for some reason, Aqua's face reminds him of Ai's, as he had a very close relationship with her in the industry. Moreover, he would also take care of her in various aspects, like introducing her to good clients or recommending good discreet restaurants when she met with a boy in secret from her agency. Aqua finally finds a clue and asks him who Ai was seeing. Masaya is intrigued to know that Aqua is interested in the gossip of a late celebrity. Although he doesn't know exactly who Ai was seeing, he offers Aqua a deal in exchange for some information. Since Aqua has a pretty similar face to Ai's, he is offered a chance to participate in a reality dating show. The next morning, Ruby gets ready for her first day at the new high school, while Aqua is already dressed up and waiting for her at the entrance. It's the same scene where the previous moment ended. After saying goodbye to a picture of their beautiful mother, they head out for school. After attending the entrance ceremony, they walk toward their classes. However, they are ambushed by Loli Senpai, who congratulates them on being admitted, and then briefly introduces the specialties of this school by pointing out various famous actors and idol students. Ruby enters her class and takes an empty seat. By this time, we already know that since she is a major character, she will have the last seat in the corner by the window. In the next seat is the beautiful Minami Katabuki. Ruby becomes jealous of Minami's figure and immediately Googles her name. She praises her for being such an enriched, sexy model. After classes, she introduces her new friend to Aqua. It turns out that Aqua has failed to make any friends, so Ruby favors him by asking Minami to become her loner brother's child. Aqua tells her to stop trying to pass on her friends. Ruby then shares that there is a very famous person in her class, the lead role of a hit drama series and a multi-talented entertainer with amazing singing and dancing skills, Frill Shiranui. Just then, they notice her walking towards the campus gate. Aqua approaches her out of nowhere and requests her to take care of her sister, who is Ruby's classmate, and he would be glad if they could get along. Frill recognizes Aqua from the final episode of Sweet Today that was being gossiped about at her workplace, so she decides to give it a try. She also recognizes Minami from the magazine cover of Mid-Jump. She compliments both of them and then turns towards Ruby, asking what she does. Ruby feels insulted and embarrassed when she is the only one not doing anything. Back at the agency, she yells at Miyako and demands to form an idol group right away. If things continue like this, she will get bullied for doing nothing. Miyako shares that since most of the talented girls are already signed with big agencies, she is facing difficulties in recruiting. That's when Aqua suggests that there is a talented and pretty girl in the industry who still works as a freelancer, and Miyako should try to recruit her. That girl is Loli Senpai. Since Aqua suggested Kana's name, Ruby has been following her all day to carefully observe her good traits, such as her silky hair or her innocent baby face mixed with her airheaded baka personality. With her long experience in following idols, Ruby concludes that girls like Kana gain a lot of popularity from hardcore otakus. Aqua stands behind her crazy sister and suggests again to scout Kana if she really is that talented. Ruby is still hesitating since she does not get along with Loli Senpai. Aqua texts Kana to meet up and asks Ruby to talk to her nicely this time. If they still cannot get along, she can forget this idea. Meanwhile, Kana is reading the reviews about the last episode. This comment, saying that the stalker was also good looking, grabs Kana's attention, and she starts blushing while thinking about Aqua. Just then, she receives a message from him, saying that they should meet up after school. Even though she tried to repress her hopes of Aqua confessing to her, she could not help but get ready by brushing her hair before the meeting. As she arrives at the meeting place, Ruby asks what took her so long. She is disappointed to see Ruby here as well. Aqua tells her that it is Ruby who needs to talk to her. She sits on the bench and starts reading her book. She tells Ruby that since she is busy unlike her, she can only spare 20 seconds to listen to her. Ruby turns back to Aqua after seeing Loli Senpai's blatant attitude and shares that if she asks her to be an idol now, it will mean that she is just as cute as Ruby. Aqua explains to her that she should let go of her pride if she wants to become an idol soon. Ruby invites Kana to become an idol with Ichigo Production, which is about to launch another idol group, and she is helping them recruit members. Kana responds that she needs some time to think about it, while she is already thinking about how to turn it down. Trying to become an idol would result in the loss of acting jobs, and if she fails after changing her career, she will lose both jobs. Since the risk is too high, she is reluctant to consider this offer. However, she notices that Ruby has the same resemblance to the genius idol Ai. She has only worked with Ai once, and that was enough to make her realize that Ai was destined to be a big star. Now, she is having the same thoughts while looking at Ruby. She thinks that she is not cute enough to be an idol. So just as she is about to decline this offer, Aqua encourages her to become an idol with her sister. He adds that she is much cuter than many of those idols out there, and since it's her, he will be relieved to leave his sister under her care. He keeps pressuring her while she keeps saying that she refuses, until we see Loli Senpai sitting on a couch at Ichigo Production after getting recruited. Miyako is surprised that Aqua actually managed to bring her here and asks what method he used to do so. Aqua shares that since he read her personality, which is sympathetic and weak under pressure, he kept pressuring her. After turning B-class into a class and clearing the Tomodachi game, the manipulator Ayano Koji arrived in Oshinko to take revenge for Ai. Miyako tells him that he should not take advantage of people like this, while Aqua thinks that he did not do anything wrong since he has not told a single lie to convince Kana. Kana shares that since she is only an expired genius now, this type of boost might work in her favor. Moreover, she is glad to join, as it would mean more working and spending time with Aqua. She asks if Aqua has any upcoming jobs, and Ruby, with an embarrassed and disgusted face, reveals Aqua's upcoming show on her laptop. Kana is surprised to see Aqua on a reality dating show. In the trailer of this reality dating show, a pretty girl joins the other two girls and the boys in a classroom and introduces herself as Yuki Sumi, a first year in high school. A second-year student, Nabayuki Kumano, who is good at dancing, introduces himself as which no one would care about since he is a guy. Moving on, a cute second-year student, who is an actress, introduces herself as Akane Kurikawa. Next up is Mencho, a cat-like girl in the third year of high school. She is a streamer on YouTube. The fifth one is Kengo Morimoto, who is in a band. He is also a third-year student. Kana shares that high schoolers who work in showbiz deepen their relationships through various events on weekends, and the viewers get to see who ends up together at the end of the show. Finally, Aqua enters the classroom and greets everyone in a jolly, nervous, and cute way. Yup, Kana and Ruby cannot recognize this guy in Aqua's body either. Someone with a dark personality like him, who always emits a negative aura, is suddenly acting so cute. Nencho finds Aqua cute, but Ruby knows that her brother is hard on girls who act cutesy. However, Aqua's response brings unity between Loli Senpai and Ruby when they both tell Aqua through the laptop screen to drop dead. Aqua tells her that she is cute too, and she makes him blush. Kana and Ruby can't believe the duality of this guy who is getting carried away by being surrounded by pretty girls. Finally, Miyako puts some sense into them, stating that this show requires him to act like this. Since he is a professional, he has no other choice but to keep up this act. What really worries Kana is that at the end of the show, Aqua might actually get together with someone for real, and the kiss and stuff among couples are common. This makes her feel sad and jealous, wondering why Aqua accepted a show like this. Miyako tells her that once she becomes a major actress, kissing and other stuff will also be required from her too, so having prudish views like this will only hold her back. At the shoot, Aqua is having difficulties interacting with Memcho, and all he can do is nod along. Masaya managed to convince him by promising to share a deep inside story that even Ai's agency is unaware of. Therefore, he has to go along to find his father, who is the murderer of Ai. The show only requires the contestants to be friendly and be careful of the static camera angles. Reality dating shows have been around for about 20 years now. Noticing Aqua and taking notes, Yuki shares that these shows really don't have a script. She thinks that she will be the first one to fade away, given her personality. Aqua asks why she took on this job. She replies that her agency never refuses a job offer, and since no one else was willing to take on this show, she decided to use it as a chance to fight her way through. She reveals that since she is just in her first year, she has never dated anyone before. She asks if Aqua is interested in dating. Aqua gives an honest reply that since he is a guy, he is obviously interested. However, he still cannot get over an old crush, and he is not even sure if it can be called a crush. Of course, he is thinking about Ai. Yuki shares that the couple from the last season kissed at the end, and upon seeing that, she was worried that there might not be any good guys this time. She gets closer and whispers in Aqua's ear that if it's him, she may be able to kiss. The camera is just behind her, so she tells him not to look at it. Being a guy, Aqua gets startled. Yuki is sure that this part will be used in the episode. Back at home, Ruby shares that as his sister, she reserves the right to choose which girl Aqua should date. She chooses Yuki as she looks like a good innocent girl. Aqua recommends her not to date for a while since she is such a bad judge of character. The next day, Ruby is bothered because Frill, Minami, and Aqua are all busy with shoots while she has nothing to do. At Miyako's office, Kana tries to convince Ruby how unstable an idol job is. They still haven't decided on a name for their group, as Kana keeps shutting down all the suggestions. That's because she still hasn't made up her mind about becoming an idol. She gets embarrassed when Ruby calls her idol Kana since she hasn't achieved anything yet. For that, Miyako brings out the camera and shares that the center of idol culture is now on the internet. It is the most cost-efficient place to start off, and luckily, Ichigo Productions' strength lies within the internet. She introduces them to a muscular YouTuber who goes by the name Pian. He is a popular YouTuber in Ichigo Productions' top seller. Kana mocks Pian and belittles him until he reveals his massive earnings, which immediately forces Kana to retrieve her words. He shares that the best way to gain popularity quickly is through a collaboration with the Pian channel, where they would wear a yellow headband and imitate his ultra-manly top G dance moves. However, he clarifies that they don't have to be in their underwear like him.
It's not fair!
He will only allow them to reveal their faces if they keep up with these macho moves for an hour. The other option is a wake-up prank. Since these pranks are scripted, Ruby does not want to use this idea as she does not want to start their first job with a lie. The girls then copy the ultra macho moves for an hour and later take off their masks to reveal their names and faces. Kyan asks for the group's name, and Kana tells Ruby to choose one, as she will be on board with whatever name she chooses. Hence, Ruby names her very first idol group Bikamachi, inspired by her mother, Akamachi. Meanwhile, Yuki begins crying in front of her classmates, sobbing about how she wants to quit this show. The other 5 are really surprised, and when they inquire about the reason, Yuki shares that the guys at her school have been teasing her lately. For a girl, nothing is scarier than openly expressing her feelings for the guy she likes. When she signed up for the show, she had no idea that drawing attention from this many people would only put her on edge. Nencho adds that she does all kinds of dumb stuff on her channel, and now people think that she really is dumb. Nabayuki tries to comfort her with his kind words, and that's where the latest episode of this reality show ends, leaving the question of whether Yuki will really leave the show. She becomes the hot topic after this performance, as an entire article is dedicated just to her. Akane is still worried about her, so she asks if Yuki is truly quitting. However, Yuki responds that she signed a contract that forbids her from leaving. So basically, she just exaggerated her feelings to use them for the show. Akane notes down in her notepad that exaggeration is also a clever tactic. Since it has been a few weeks since the show started, everyone's personalities are becoming clear. Aqua classifies them as the ones who are really good at acting, like Yuki and Memcho, the ones who aren't hypocrites but are unique, like Nabayuki, and the ones who aren't good on camera, so they have less screen time, like Ken and Akane. Nabu and Yuki suggest going out to eat and making Memcho pay for the meal since she gained new subscribers and is loaded. Her agency only takes a 50% cut, which makes others envious. For example, Akane only gets 20% of the earnings. They all enjoy the yakiniku while Akane keeps putting food on others' plates before her own. Aqua tells her that he can grill for himself and that she needs to stop serving others and eat some herself too. However, Akane tells him that this is her role. People used to get mad at her whenever she would burn the meat, but now that she can grill it well, she enjoys serving others. Afterward, she takes notes of Memcho's high on meat wisdom. Back at home, Aqua gets stopped at the door by Ruby, who asks if eating tasty meat while staring at cute girls must have been really enjoyable. Aqua tries to clarify that it was just a harmless hangout, but Ruby can sense the lie by noticing the satisfaction oozing from his face. Ruby is correct, as her brother can never get enough of eating oily food without experiencing digestion. She complains that shooting on weekends to make them hang out later is all just a setup. Aqua shares that reality dating shows aren't set up as much as she thinks, as most of them are only trying to make themselves look good, while a few are obviously faking it. She asks if everyone really falls in love, to which Aqua answers that it depends on each individual. Nencho, Yuki, and Nabu have no problem taking the relationship from here to marriage, while Aqua, Akane, and Ken just consider this show as work. Since he hadn't watched any dating shows, he thought that they would be set up. But it turns out that the real selling point is for the characters to express their true selves. It may be good from the audience's perspective, but lies are often the best way to protect oneself. Later on, the Yuki and Nabu pair becomes the focus of the show, where Ken shows his jealousy and a love triangle forms over Yuki. Yuki becomes the game master while her flirty character excites the show, and the show starts to gain popularity among teenagers. Nencho asks Saku why he isn't becoming a part of that love triangle since mingling with her would not do him any good. Aqua responds that he just wants to play it safe until the show ends. Nencho is also not interested since her only goal is to lead viewers to her own channel. She expresses her concern about Akane, who is still taking notes from the cameraman and putting in a lot of effort. The backstory of Akane is shown, who might seem to have crawled her way up through her pretty looks, but in reality, she tries her best every day, working harder than most of the people to get better at stuff. She overhears her manager being yelled at by the agency's director, who expresses his anger towards Akane for not being able to get any screen time on the dating show, despite finally being given a chance to shine. The manager tries to defend her by stating that she is already doing her best. However, the director argues that her best efforts are not generating any revenue, and he regrets choosing her over all the other girls. Akane apologizes to her manager, but he tells her not to worry and to continue doing her best as he will act as her shield. Akane sheds tears as she looks at her notes and decides to work even harder to make her presence known. At the Ichigo Productions office, Ruby tries a new drink that turns out to be gross. Being a Gen Z, she immediately starts writing a post about how poor this new drink is to get her money's worth. Just then, Kana interrupts her with a newspaper smack. She explains to Ruby that if she writes badly about any product or store, and they happen to be ego surfing, it will result in them being reluctant to hire them for any future projects. Kana checks Ruby's phone and discovers that Ruby also frequently engages in ego surfing. Kana mocks her for searching her own name and even writing cute alongside it. She then gives a whole speech on how the revolution of ego surfing has taken over the world. Ruby realizes that beneath her pretty face, she is just a baka. Meanwhile, Akane is ego surfing in her room, and the words associated with her the most are non-existent. The next day during the shoot, Aqua discovers Memcho and Ken shooting videos for her TikTok. Memcho explains that she first started posting videos on TikTok and later turned into a YouTuber since it pays better than any other platform. She suggests that Aqua should also create a channel, but he responds by saying that he cannot understand the trends amongst youngsters these days. Just then, they notice Akane approaching Yuki and Nabu, who are talking in front of the camera. She finally makes her first move by pulling Nabu away from Yuki, stating that she needs to talk about something. Akane is finally getting some attention, although not in a positive way. She asks one of the crew members for a tip to have more screen time, to which she was suggested to pull a bad girl move and steal Nabu from Yuki. After the shoot, Yuki paints Memcho's nails beautifully and then offers to do the same for Akane. While painting her nails, Yuki asks if she truly wants to steal Nabu, considering she just made her first move. Akane responds that she simply wants to stand out and achieve results. Yuki warns her that she won't let her steal the spotlight, as she is going to fight till the end for it. The next day, Akane is having a nice talk with Ken when Yuki shows up. And in a flirty way, Yuki grabs Ken's hand and pulls him away. Akane needs to work harder for everyone supporting her, so she chases after them and stops Yuki, saying that she should not cling to guys so easily. What she does not notice is that her nail mistakenly hits Yuki's face and leaves a cut. Akane panics over harming her co-worker model, who has a shoot tomorrow and her face is now scratched. However, Yuki immediately hugged her to calm her down, saying that she understands how hard she is trying, and that it was just an unfortunate accident. Yuki realizes that it only happened because Akane tried to do something out of her comfort zone. If this were a normal school, arguing a little and then making up would be a common story. However, this is a reality show with harsh critics. The viewers come to the realization that Akane is responsible for the cut on Yuki's face, and the internet floods with hateful comments for Akane. Crazy, dull, and trash are just a few words associated with Akane in abundance. The viewers even demand Akane be taken off the show immediately. Akane writes an apology tweet, but Memcho had previously advised them that an actor should never apologize, since it means that he admits he was wrong. However, everyone sees the apology as an opportunity to do the meanest things. Akane goes through a hard time dealing with the backlash, spending her days in tears, skipping meals, skipping school, and even not appearing at the shoot. She still pretends to put on a smile in front of her mother to not make her worry. Everyone at school is happy that Akane is finally exposed, since they think of her as a prideful girl who thinks she is good at everything. What they don't realize is the hard work and effort she put into everything to be better. She realizes that this tragedy will follow her throughout her career. The small fanbase she once had also turns against her. Even against her friend's advice, she heads out to buy groceries in the typhoon, as she is severely depressed and is barely in her senses anymore. The typhoon causes her to stumble and collapse to the ground, while memories of countless tweets urging her to disappear and perish flood her mind. She climbs up onto the side barrier, determined to end her suffering once and for all. We have yet to recover from Ai's death, and now Akane. Just as she is about to jump, a hooded boy grabs her and tells her not to resist, as he is not going to hurt her. She recognizes the voice and realizes that it is not a stranger, but her friend Aqua. Although Aqua may sometimes act like a stranger to some people, Aqua reaches in time, pulling Akane back from the bridge's rail right before she moves to jump off. As they both fall and Aqua holds Akane from behind, she starts screaming and resisting, thinking of the hooded boy as some freak. Aqua exclaims to stop her and make her realize it's him, making her cry in vulnerability. Upon her confusion, Aqua explains how Mem called him worrying about her going out in the typhoon and not returning for a while, so he tracked the route to the convenience store looking for her while Mem searched the neighborhood. He pats her head trying to calm her down when an officer reaches them hurriedly after witnessing the incident from afar. Arima surfs through the internet looking at the hate comments on Akane showing pity for her, confusing Ruby, who thinks celebrities get used to it after a while. However, Arima explains that this is something that's not ignorable so easily, and when a young girl faces criticism for the first time, it gets really hard to stay positive and keep working. She mentions thoughtfully how even she had days where she wanted to give up and off herself due to such comments. Miyako also mentions how reality dating shows are really popular all over the world, but they have produced about 50 suicides and there have been 10 times more people who thought of suicide and barely escaped it. Arima mentions how reality shows show the true self of a person, so that bashing is to the celebrity's true self rather than their show, hence hitting harder. Ruby thinks of how Aqua telling lies is the best way to protect oneself, which is acknowledged by Arima, since a fake personality on the screen causes less damage than showing one's honest self. People are always insensitive and don't even realize how their comments corner celebrities into a dark space where the only way out seems to be death. The conversation is halted by Miyako's phone ringing to worry everyone on the news of Aqua being in the police station.
Aqua が警察のご厄介になったみたい。
Akane's mother is shocked to hear all this since Akane didn't allow her to watch the program. A vulnerable Akane exclaims how she didn't want to worry her mother and starts wailing even more badly. Aqua, who is sitting outside on a bench, is greeted by Miyako, who talks about how she thought he was in trouble, but she is proud of how seemingly disinterested Aqua was this observant. Aqua mentions how people can die easily, so a scream for help should always be responded to, not being able to handle how his nice nature is being known. He mentions charging Akane for the taxi fare to the police station, making Miyako laugh at him. As Akane and her mother come out of the room, the rest of her cast members come rushing towards her and she receives a direct slap from a worried Yuki, surprising everyone. Yuki starts crying, hugging Akane while she stands there stunned, not expecting this much care from her team members. Aqua asks Akane what her next step will be since a reality show using minors can't complain over her quitting if things have gotten this far. Akane contemplates the decision and decides not to back out now. As the others mingle to lighten her mood, Aqua takes his leave, pissed off at the producers for ruining her image and at the people who commented on whatever stupidity came to their minds. Since Aqua knows police stations have a media office waiting for news like that to use it, he hands them the news of Akane's suicide attempt, disappointing Miyako, who does not understand his intention behind all that right away. Aqua wanted people to realize the intensity of their comments, and as the news of Akane's attempt spread out, a few decided to back away, but there still wasn't any strong impact, nor was Akane coming out of her house yet, so Aqua decides to start the literal reality show now. He approaches Mem to ask her for pictures and videos of all the casts that she records to choose to put on her channel. He explains how he wants to show the real perspective and not what the producers are showing officially. Mem is impressed by the idea and offers to upload the content since she knows how to make content go viral. The rest of the members also offer their support, and Yuki mentions how their sweet moment after the fight was recorded in a static camera nearby, so they should upload it too. Aqua approaches one of the staff whom Akane has been discussing the notes with, but he refuses to make the video live since it would ruin the show's image and cause him trouble even if he's well aware that Akane is a pro. Aqua tries to make him understand that Akane is half his age, and he should be protecting the kid for her to grow. The person finally understands Aqua's stance and gives him the recording. Aqua pulls consecutive all-nighters to compile the video as soon as possible, so the useless hatred for Akane finally settles. The 5 members work together to compile the shots from Mem's phone as well as the content from the staff's cameras that weren't aired, while a serious Aqua tries to work with over-enthusiastic 17-year-old acquaintances of his. As the time to finally upload the video comes, Aqua is left with energy not even enough to click on the upload button. As Mem uploads the video, all of them hope for it to go viral, and much to their hopes, it does go viral pretty well, revamping Akane's image as well as increasing the popularity of their show. Akane, who watches the video in the darkness of her room, cannot believe all of them took out their time to improve her deteriorated image. The chaos settles enough to improve Akane's mental state, so she finally decides to start shooting back soon. Yuki mentions how she shouldn't push herself, but before Akane can respond, she freaks out thinking of how bad her words sounded when she meant them in genuine concern. Mem suggests she should take up a persona rather than showing her true self so she doesn't face backlash on her true personality, and sticks to a role throughout the show. Even Aqua agrees with Mem's words, so Akane decides to take up their advice. Mem rants about how Aqua is a man of many faces, so at least he should show one to them, while Aqua simply refuses to do so. Akane wonders what kind of role she should adopt, making Mem and Yuki creepily move to Aqua asking what type of girl is his type since he's the only guy in this room. Aqua thinks about it, as Ai's face flashes in front of him, and mentions how she likes a girl with a pretty face, making the two disappointed at him being into visuals of girls like every other guy. Aqua ignores the two and continues listing Ai's fascinating traits like her bright smile, perfect performance, invincible speech and manner, and captivating eyes. This confuses the 3 girls, but then something clicks in Mem's head and she figures out what Aqua's confusing stuff is referring to. Her mentions of Bikamatch's eyes make Aqua halt in surprise, yet he agrees that it's what he was referring to. The 2 girls excitedly convince Akane to act like her and make Aqua fall for her, while Aqua is sure that no one can copy the charm of Ai's. Akane walks home determined to work hard since she knows Aqua worked hard on that video and even came to save her in that storm, so he deserves something in return for his help. She decides to try and make him happy by perfectly acting out Ai's impression of him. Akane searches for information about Ai on the internet and gathers data about her. She then observes her personality in the videos and her performances, analyzing her personality and breaking her actions into details and desires Ai had. She keeps noting down stuff on her notepad about her analysis of Ai and works in so much depth that she fills a good amount of her wall with notes on Ai's personality. Surprisingly enough, she notices a lot of tiny details about her life just from the breakdown of her personality. She notices how Ai's personality shows secrecy, careless behavior, an unstable childhood, and much more. She even notices a certainty in her involvement with someone of the opposite sex, as well as something different about her way of expressing love. The genius even ends up noticing the detail no one else noticed even while interacting with Ai when she was alive. Ai had an imbalance in her body, which is seen in girls who have intercourse at an adolescent age. Arima talks to Aqua about Akane's situation, discussing how she recovered. Arima mentions how it would have been better if she retired since she is kind of her rival in the acting business, which surprises Aqua, as he did not expect Arima to feel insecure about some actress who is just starting her career. This pauses Arima for a moment till she realizes Aqua has no links to the theater, so he doesn't know that Akane has been known as a genius actress in theaters, as she works for Theater Lalali. As Akane returns to the set, she apologizes for all the inconvenience she caused and offers to show her best work. As the cameras roll, everyone, especially Aqua, is left speechless at the perfect impression of Ai by Akane, from the tone of her voice to the charm in her eyes. While watching the show, Arima discusses with Ruby how Akane has been known as a genius in theater for studying whatever role she has to play in depth and perfecting it like no one else, so even though she isn't a personality to stand out in reality shows, she is no less than a pro in the acting industry. Aqua does not know how to react as a perfect impression of Ai stands in front of him, something he never fathomed. As the rest of the cast greets Akane, they are unable to comprehend the change in her since she carries the same charisma that once Ai had, something so captivating that it steals the spotlight in an instant. As Akane expresses her gratitude to Aqua, Mem and Yuki discuss how not only Akane but Aqua seems different too. To check it, Mem tries to have him pass her pouch, but he denies doing so until Akane tells him to. This makes the two girls excited that Aqua is only listening to Akane and likes the role she perfected to be his type. They try to fluster him with a little teasing, but Aqua cannot handle the conflict in his mind, so he excuses himself and rushes out. Letting go of Aqua's weird attitude, the girls tease Akane, who seems to be considering the possibility of going out with Aqua. Arima is pissed at the bond shown between Aqua and Akane, so starts dissing the show while watching it with Ruby, talking about how baseless the concept of the show is. She leaves acting as if she doesn't care one bit about the show or Aqua, not realizing the same bewilderment on Ruby's face as Aqua, since she also sees a glimpse of her actual mother in the girl role-playing on camera. Aqua sits in his room pondering over spending years thinking about Ai but not understanding her at all. He couldn't tell what part of her personality was the truth and which was a lie. More to that, he couldn't even understand how he always saw Ai as a fan or as a mother or a love interest. Arima walks to school lost in her thoughts when some girls near her discussing how Akane and Aqua make a cute pair on the show and how they might kiss ruin her mood, but before she can think much about it, the hot topic, Aqua, approaches her himself, offering to ditch school and hang out. Out of all places to hang out with a girl, Aqua chooses to buy gloves and a ball and take Arima to play catch with him, leaving the poor girl speechless. Feeling awkward, she tells him he should have hung out with someone who knows how to play catch since she doesn't, and discreetly inquire about his friends from the reality show. But Aqua denies being casual enough to hang out and have an easy flow of conversation with those people, something he doesn't have to worry about while hanging out with Arima. This feels pleasing to Arima, who then carries out the conversation asking what his type is and who he'd be targeting for the end of the show. This makes Aqua think about how he always remembered his past life, and as a kid his attitude was always conflicted between the doctor and a child, but now as he grows, he is settling enough to think of his past self and Aqua as the same personality. He comes out of his thoughts and tells Arima that just like any high school boy, he feels an attraction to girls around him, but maybe he likes them a little older. This makes her think of herself. By then she realizes how Akane is also a senior to Aqua and throws the ball hard at him. Aqua praises her throw, to which she reacts bratty in a cute way, making him smile, and realize something that he met her for, that his feelings for Akane aren't romantic at all. After having cleared his thoughts, Aqua comes back on set where Akane thanks him off camera for the suggestion of a change in persona. Aqua questions how her impression held such accuracy, to which she shares how she studies psychological profiling and researches the characters she needs to impersonate a lot to create her interpretations of them. She tells him how she even adds her own backstory to build the characters at times. This piques Aqua's interest, to which Akane tells him she assumed Ai gave birth to a child in secret, not knowing how her assumption was spot on. Aqua questions how much she can figure out Ai's thought process to get exactly the response Aqua wanted. Akane tells him she can figure out what kind of life she led and what kind of men she was interested in. This conversation makes Aqua realize how important Akane could be in the main motive of his life, which becomes the base of his actions in the last episode of the reality show. He does what was least expected from him out of the whole cast. He kisses Akane at the ending scene after asking her out, unaware of a certain cold heart of Arima being torn by his actions. At the wrap-up party, everyone talks about how Aqua and Akane should continue dating, but she doesn't consider it a good idea for her acting career. Mem suggests not thinking about it and living like a normal teenager, expressing how Yuki must have done that too, offending the girl a little since she never dated anyone before and always prioritized acting. Aqua slips out of the group mid-conversation while the same person from the staff who helped Aqua with the footage talks to the rest of the members about how it's totally up to them how they take their relationships now, since the production won't interfere a single bit, and they actually should explore their teenage years rather than restricting them to their jobs only. As Aqua meets the producer outside, he discusses how recruiting Aqua was a good choice provided the success of the show. The producer then mentions how his handling of the backlash kind of became a problem with the higher-ups since he used footage that wasn't aired, and that they even thought of suing Ichigo Production for it. Aqua confidently replies he never breached the contract since it was mentioned they could upload off-stage moments on their official accounts to promote the show, and this is exactly what happened. Impressed by his stance, the producer ends the conversation by keeping his end of the deal and deciding to meet Aqua for the next week. Aqua and Akane sit over a drink discussing what their next step should be. Akane is sure that Aqua does not see her as his love interest, so Aqua doesn't give her any false messages either and tells her that he only sees all this as an extension to work, so they should only pretend to date for a while and then smoothly end things. He then praises how he genuinely finds her an interesting actor, which proves to be the perfect praise for a hard-working teenager like Akane. She thanks him for it and mentions how real dating should be left for Yuki and Nabu, surprising Aqua since in the last episode of the show, Yuki rejected Nabu only to start dating him in real life and off-camera. Akane mentions liking the sly personality of Yuki while Aqua remains disinterested in Yuki's actions like before. As all the members finally part ways, Aqua and Mem walk on the same route due to living in the same neighborhood and get into a casual conversation. Mem expresses her sadness at the show ending since she was having a good time there, but chooses the better option of teasing Aqua for blushing when Akane impersonates Aiz. Aqua is surprised that Mem knew about Bikamachi and Aiz, so Mem lets him in on a secret that she always wanted to become an idol, but the circumstances took her chance away, so now she works happily as an independent YouTuber. Aqua listens to her and offers her to join his company then, since the new Bikamachi is recruiting idols. Mem considers it a joke at first, but seeing the straight face of Aqua, she is left stunned at the opportunity that knocked her life so casually. Miyako is surprised at Aqua bringing another potential recruit for the idol group and contemplates making him the talent scout for her production. She interviews Mem, who is excited yet nervous. The interview goes well, but Miyako's hunch picks how Mem is hiding her real age even if it doesn't look like it from her face. Miyako is not bothered about it since many girls lie about their age in this industry. Miyako then asks what Mem's real age is, to which Mem gets nervous and whispers her age in Miyako's ear. Miyako slowly turns red and starts screaming at Mem for stretching her lie a bit too much, making Mem beg Miyako to not count what her actual age is when she shows herself as 18. Aqua also seems to be interested in the situation and casually asks if she reduced 3 years from her age. Mem tells him she reduced 7 years from her actual age, getting a proper shocked reaction out of a composed guy like Aqua. Both of them are shocked that Mem worked as a high school girl while being 25. A dejected Mem sits on the ground in between the two, trying to reason why she's been doing this. She shares how she wanted to become an idol since she was a kid, but she was raised by a single mother and had 2 younger brothers as well. Deciding to give up her dream, she wanted to help her mother earn, but her mother told her to pursue her dream and not worry about anything. Mem auditioned for many agencies and almost got recruited by a major agency, but in her 3rd year of high school, her mother fell sick and was hospitalized. Wanting to pay for the bills and education of her brothers, she took a break from high school and worked all kinds of odd jobs to earn well. She worked hard enough to send her little brothers off to college and have her mother's health improved, but by this time she had already turned 23, and in Japan, it's treated like a taboo that girls older than 20 become idols. All the application forms also put up a condition to have girls only to the age of 20 as potential candidates. After losing her hopes of becoming an idol, she started streaming on YouTube, and in one of her lives, she joked about currently being a high school girl since she took a break from it and never completed it. She couldn't believe that her joke was taken seriously due to her build, and she gained a lot of popularity, making it impossible for her to back out, and now 2 years later, she's still hanging on to that lie of hers. Mem dejectedly tells them that she understands how big of an issue this can become if her real age is exposed, and she knows it's impossible to be 25 and become an idol. Ruby cuts Mem off before she can say she will never become an idol, since after hearing the whole story, she finds no issue in Mem becoming an idol. Arima, from the doorway, also mentions how her story feels a little relatable to her, but the little terms seem to be way off to the fact that a whole stream of tears is flowing from her eyes, reminding her of how her child agency kicked her out, and she had no support at one time too. Arima turns to Miyako, who says she never even said no, and looks at Ruby since she knows that the girls need to be on the same page and united for the group to work out well. Ruby also responds in the affirmative that no one should ever stop dreaming and this shouldn't be an issue for them. Aqua talks to Arima, trusting her to take care of the two girls, but Arima responds to him coldly, showing her jealousy when she calls him a womanizer, telling him to go care for Anik and not be so casual with them. She mentions she's going to take care of the two even if he doesn't tell her to, and offers Mem for the three to go for lunch together, making the emotional girl cry even more at the sweet nature of the girls. With 3 girls, the Bikamachi group can officially start working now. In school, Minami talks about Aqua's show love for real and mentions how awkward it must have been to see her brother kiss on screen. Upon Akane being called Aqua's girlfriend, she thinks of how Aqua's feelings towards Akane may be only based on the similarity she portrayed to Aiz. Their conversation is interrupted by Frill, who seems to be interested in the show as well and calls it a great eye candy since the show was all about cute guys and cute girls. Both of the girls are shocked upon hearing Frill talk so casually about such stuff, while Frill continues how her eyes were so pleased that she thinks her eyesight even got better by watching the show. Frill adds how she would have made a move on Mem if she was a guy in that show, while the two girls are amused at her funny talk and discuss how girls are supposed to keep an innocent image and not joke around while on sets and cameras, since men feel a rivalry with them that way. But many women have this side too. She even praises Aqua and mentions how she watched the show because her acquaintance, Aqua, was in it. Aqua's popularity increased a great deal after the show, and many girls from the entertainment as well as the general department developed a crush on him, but all are maintaining a distance, thinking he is dating Akane at the moment. But this show's popularity didn't only benefit Aqua but Bikamachi too, since after Mem's joining, they were able to make more professional videos and gain a greater number of subscribers, since Mem knows how to handle social media well. Mem expresses how they need to show their music as well to gain actual popularity, to which Arima informs how Miyako has asked a writer to create music for them, so they have to sit back and wait till then, but there's no fooling Mem. Since they're using the name Bikamachi and acting as successors of the original group, there's no issue if they use their old songs for now, so they shouldn't sit back and wait till Mem hits her 30s and starts working. They decide to start working from learning how to dance like the original Bikamachi, so they head to the dance studio and keep working. Mem and Ruby's energy is unmatched since they've been obsessed with becoming an idol, but of course, Arima does get tired of the over-enthusiasm since becoming an idol has not been her wish, so she acts a bit realistically. Arima stands near the vending machine exhausted and wonders if the two are intending to learn the rest of the 30 footage in the same day too, since she can't keep up with their enthusiasm. Her questioning thoughts on choosing to become an idol are interrupted by a water bottle touching her forehead. Aqua stands there praising her efforts, but right before she is blown away by her crush, she recalls how he kissed Akane and rudely rejects the bottle and his company. Aqua, not knowing why she's been acting this way, seems surprised and puts the bottle beside her, taking his leave after telling her that even though she and him both know she has a bad attitude and a bitter mouth, this attitude towards him might end up hurting him. This bewilders Arima, since how can he say such a thing when he's the one who hurt her? She tries to stop him, but it's too late and the corridor is already empty. Aqua meets up with the producer, who labels the topic of conversation as digging up someone's grave. He warns Aqua one last time that it's never a good idea for a fan to dig up the reality of their favorite celebrity, but he knows no fan ever listens. He shares how initially Aiz had a very casual attitude since she was a country girl. She remained introverted and never bothered about her dressing sense. Her professionalism wasn't at par, so he decided to help Aiz by introducing her to a theater workshop. She was groomed at the theater Lullaby back when it wasn't very famous. The producer shares that he is sure she fell in love with someone there since she started caring about her appearance and used to ask for good restaurants to eat at. He doesn't know who she was involved with, but he can introduce Aqua to Lullaby's superintendent to get closer to whatever answer he needs. Aqua questions why he'd help him this far, to which the producer shares how showbiz is all about give and take and people do favors to others for them to be returned whenever they need it. The producer shares how he can see Aqua's potential and knows he's going to hit his prime in showbiz one day, and at that time, working with him would get him a great profit, so he is kind of investing there, and he does that to many newbies. The producer further mentions how he sees potential in Mem and Arima too and is interested in how they have revived the Bikamachi group. The producer didn't lie about his investments since he approached Mem to get their new group a stage in the upcoming Japan Idol Festival. This gets Ruby excited, but Arima expresses concern over not being prepared and ruining their image by doing so. Mem tries to reason how people wait long for such opportunities, and this just gives them a good motive and aim to work. This settles that the group is going to perform at the concert. The next question becomes who the center of the group is going to be, since it's supposed to be the face of the group and needs to be the best at everything. Ruby and Mem both show interest in becoming the center of the group, but the real question remains the singing capabilities of who is going to be the center. This reminds Ruby of how Arima made a green pepper song in her childhood that topped the charts, and the two joke about this funny memory pissing the poor child star. The two girls then decide to settle the matter on whoever scores better at karaoke, but Arima excuses herself not being interested in becoming the face of the group. Arima shares how she tried out different fields since her childhood but never got popular once and has no fan following. She sits with her back facing them and tells them dejectedly that the center should be someone with a pretty face like Ruby or a good fan following like Mem, and not a bitter woman like her. Ruby expresses concern over her sulky attitude, but Mem tells her sweetly to join them later. At the karaoke, both get points in the 40 seconds and 50 seconds, proving how lame singers the two idols are, and argue with each other over the other being a bad singer. The two then settle, knowing they both need to practice their singing. Wanting to make fun of the Green Pepper song, they search for it and notice how Arima released some more songs after Green Pepper which never gained popularity. They decide to listen to one of the songs and realize that Arima worked on her singing after the Green Pepper song and sang those new songs even better. Meanwhile, the bitter self-deprecating girl who calls herself poor at singing sits in another karaoke room sipping her soda with a score of 97. The two overly energetic group members finally convinced Arima to become the group center since she's far better at singing than Mem and Ruby. However, the two thought it would be better to fool Arima into becoming the center by directly announcing it on camera rather than sitting down and convincing her with rational reasoning. Arima made them stop the recording and gave them an earful for considering her an easy pushover, who wouldn't be able to refuse once they put it on camera that she's going to be the main face of the group. The two ashamed ladies apologize for their tactic, and Mem explains their karaoke match results. She mentions how they heard Arima's other music videos and saw how she improved in her singing. Arima smiles sorrowfully and turns her chair away from them, expressing her thoughts about how she believed she could sing but ended up damaging her image and her production company by failing to sell her music. Ruby defends that it was her first song, The Green Pepper Exercise, that was off-key. She adds that she improved with every new song, showing her dedication to becoming better, and believes this devotion should represent Bikamachi. Arima frustratedly shouts at Ruby for trying to force her, so Ruby apologizes for their immature act and asks Arima to at least listen to how they sound. In the evening, the three in their dance practice. Of course, Arima is the center. Mem and Ruby are satisfied that everything is sorted out in the end, and they convince Arima to be the center. Arima mocks them for being terrible at singing while trying to become idols. After hearing them sing, she knows she's better than the two to become the center, even though she doesn't want to be the center of the group. Miek visits them and shares that they need to push themselves since there isn't much time left for the concert, so she gets someone to help them train. Arima wonders if it's Aqua, but to her surprise, she finds Mr. Pian instead. Ruby is happy to see him, while Mem is stunned as he's in the same field as her and has been a pro dancer before. Mem is also a fan of him, leaving only Arima unamused. Pian has experience in choreographing for idols, so Mem asks where they could be improved from his point of view. Pian mentions that the first thing they need to work on is their stamina, which means exercising every day. After they're exhausted, they'll go through their set list 3 times while maintaining a smile on their faces. They start their training under Pian, and other than that as well. Mem and Ruby even discuss different transitions to make their stage performances more eye-catching. Arima watches them from the balcony while sipping on her juice and wonders where they get so much energy from. Pian visits Arima on the balcony, questioning if she regrets becoming an idol. She tells him she doesn't regret the decision she made for herself, but she does think she's not cut out to be an idol. Pian questions why she hates becoming the center so much since he thinks she is amazing. However, Arima seems to hold quite the opposite opinion about herself and believes she's not worthy of being the face of an idol group. She decides to low-key mock Pian for saying she's amazing, while betting he doesn't know anything about her. However, this isn't quite accurate. Pian starts listing her attributes, such as how hard she works, how she practices vocal exercises every morning, how her foul mouth is her insecurity that she wholeheartedly owns, and how she hates green peppers despite having a song about it. Arima is surprised to see that Pian knows so much about her and feels a bit more fond of him now. She jokingly asks if he's her fan, to which he accepts, causing her to blush at the importance he gives her. She never thought she had any fans anymore. Arima expresses her surprise that Pian knows she hates green peppers even though she never officially stated it. This revelation allows the two of them to bond over their hatred for green peppers, since they both find it overpowering to the dishes. As they engage in a casual conversation, Arima enjoys it so deeply that she even thinks about forgetting Aqua and developing feelings for Pian instead. On the other hand, Ruby and Mem notice Pian conversing with Arima and feel grateful that he spared so much time to help them. Mem casually mentions that his physique is not as built as it appears in the videos, making him resemble Aqua in a mask. Ruby starts laughing at the amusing possibility of Aqua speaking in a duck voice. After their training session, Pian praises Arima and offers her water, making her mention how nice he is compared to Aqua. Mem questions if Arima hates Aqua, leading Arima to go on a rant about all the problems she has with Aqua, expressing her dislike for him. She also mentions how she used to think he was cute when they were children. Mem asks if they have known each other since then, causing Arima to go into another rant about how Aqua was cute and nice in the past. But now he seems evil. This confuses Mem, who can't tell what Arima is getting at. Meanwhile, Pian watches the three of them from outside the practice room and engages in a conversation with Aqua over a call. He discusses their progress and lists their qualities and what he should do next for them. But what's surprising is that it's not Aqua on call, but Pian. While Aqua stands dressed as Pian in front of the girls. Mem's opinion was right about the similarity, since it has been Aqua who has been helping and guiding them throughout their training, while Pian has been on vacation, assisting Aqua through videos and calls. Upon Pian's question, Aqua tells him that he did it since Arima wouldn't have listened to his words. However, Pian is confident that she would have, making Aqua mention how he isn't strong enough to test that. At night, while Mem has dozed off completely, Ruby can't sleep due to the excitement. Arima tries to convince her to get some rest, explaining that a lack of sleep might reduce her charm. However, Ruby just cannot keep her adrenaline under control. This makes Arima question how she is so excited and confident, since there is no certainty as to how their performance would go or how the audience will react if there is any audience. Ruby smiles at this and shares with Arima a glimpse into her past life by mentioning a time when she had no choice but to stay indoors. During that time, she became a fan of Ai and it brought joy into her life. Ruby also shares the bittersweet memory of her first love, who happened to be her doctor. He told her that he would be her fan if she ever became an idol, so she believes she will have at least one fan. Ruby dozes off while thinking about the whereabouts of the doctor, leaving Arima to smile at the sight of a sleeping Ruby, thinking of how she doesn't have anyone to support her like that. Arima walks downstairs, thinking about Ruby's words when she suddenly stops and hides upon spotting Pian's unmasked face on the table. Upon curiosity, she peeps to see his face, only to be stunned upon discovering that Aqua is wearing Pian's clothes. As Ruby and Mem can't hold their enthusiasm, Arima is stressed since the whole incident confused her so much that she couldn't get even a wink of sleep. As the group moves to the dressing room, it turns out to be a hall full of upcoming idols. Miek mentions how they've got to become famous to be treated well. Arima sits alone with her legs shaking with anxiety after telling Miek that she is not nervous and will help and support the other two. However, the pressure makes her dive into all the past disappointments people had in her and how many failures she went through. It makes her wonder how she even thought of leading by Komachi while she is a failure herself. As she takes a walk to get rid of the self-deprecating thoughts that could ruin the day for Ruby and Mem. Ruby approaches her feeling super nervous. This surprises Arima since she seemed to be enjoying herself. Ruby holds her hand and asks if she's nervous, causing Arima to deny it right away, stating that she's been doing this for a long time. This halts Ruby as she can feel how cold Arima's hands are. When she mentions it, Arima shouts at her for thinking so, making Ruby smile as she knows shouting is the best way to hide insecurity. She mentions how she feels better knowing Arima feels nervous too, and tries to reassure her that they're working together. But what Ruby doesn't know is that this is exactly why Arima is nervous. She is very used to failing and can deal with it. But she doesn't want Ruby and Mem to go through the same pain. Ruby pauses for a moment and mentions how she doesn't know much about Arima's past. But to her, Arima is the same rookie idol who is working hard like many other rookies out there. It doesn't matter if she screws up since it's part of their journey, so they should just enjoy all the challenges and give their best. This helps Arima greatly and makes her smile as Ruby drags her to prepare for their performance. A group of 3 people stops for the performance of Baikamachi since the 2 young ones want to stay to watch Mem, while their boss, the older one, used to be a fan of Ai, so he stays to watch what this Baikamachi is about. Ruby chose her penlight color to be red since it was Ai's, while Mem chose yellow. The white penlight fascinated Arima, so she chose it for herself. As they stand on stage, Arima notices how the crowd is not bad, and she can see it's because of Mem, due to the large presence of the yellow lights. She also notices that the number of red penlights isn't bad either. As they perform their first song, Arima does not feel as nervous anymore and can perform normally. However, she also notices the lack of white lights in the crowd and wonders if people would have liked to see Mem as the center of the group. The boss of the 2 guys mentions how this group is nothing like the O.G.B. Kamachi, which was upheld by a star named Ai. But his words are halted as Ruby smiles the same smile as Ai on the stage, and the similarity in their charm makes him raise a red penlight subconsciously. Even Arima is stunned by the charm on Ruby's face and notices how she might be winning the hearts of people instantly, as if she was born to become an idol. She observes Ruby's positivity and enthusiasm as she thanks the crowd and announces their next song. Unaware of how Arima is once again indulging in her insecurities, as she sees the fans for Mem and Ruby while no one would look at her. Even while performing, Arima wonders how she's been desperately wanting someone to look at her, need her, and appreciate her, so that she works harder and harder. Even in this crowd, she wants someone to look at her and make her feel that she belongs to this group. Suddenly, a white light catches her attention, none other than from her #1 supporter, Aquamarine. He stands in the crowd with the white penlight in one hand and the other 2 lights in his other hand. Performing the same routine he and Ruby got viral for performing in their carts as babies in Ai's concert. Them, Ruby, and Arima all try to hold in their laughs as Aqua stands out in the crowd, performing the routine with the straightest face possible, making him look like a clown. But even he doesn't know how well his support works as he raises Arima's morale to perform with even more enthusiasm. She thinks about how he's funny and unfair for using all 3 penlights, but this gives Arima even more encouragement as she sets her goal to make all his penlights turn white. She performs with all her heart, now wanting to become Aqua's favorite, making the poor guy halt with surprise at the sudden charm that Arima exhibits. This even creates more white lights in the crowd as people praise all 3 for having the looks of ace idols. But with passing songs, Arima seems to be catching more attention than she expected. As they all enter the car, they see Aqua sitting there, which makes Ruby joke about how funny he is. While traveling, Ruby dozes off and Mem is busy on her phone in the passenger seat. Arima asks Aqua about their performance, making him give a slight compliment. However, he refuses to praise more, stating that he expects them to do bigger and better concerts later, making this praise seem wasted. Miek is content that the 2 of them finally decided to talk to each other. Nem asks if they don't get along, but Miek tells her it's not like that. Miek then asks about how Akane is doing, but Aqua tells him he hasn't met her and only considers her a work colleague. He mentions that he might meet up with her someday to take photos with her for the fans. The mention of them being work colleagues satisfies Arima, and she starts casually throwing insults at Akane, warning her to never get involved with someone like him. She also starts playfully mocking Aqua. Nem is surprised at how cheerful Arima suddenly becomes. It finally dawns upon her that Arima is interested in Aqua. This confuses her because she doesn't know whom she should root for between Akane and Arima, and she doesn't know who Aqua's interest is. Akane's manager finally brings her the new project she was offered, making her happier than ever since she'll be able to work with Aqua again. Arima confronts Aqua for pretending to be Pian, so Aqua tells her it was because she wouldn't talk to him. These direct words catch Arima off guard, but she can't control her happiness and starts teasing him for dancing and training in that heavy mask and even changing his voice for that. Awkward due to the teasing, Aqua uses his most convenient excuse and tells her he wanted Arima to listen and train well since it would have affected his sister otherwise. However, Arima is well aware now that the sister complex is just an excuse and laughs about it. Aqua tries to walk away, but Arima points out how he is running in embarrassment since he did something weird to talk to her. This hits the bullseye for Arima, and Aqua starts acting as if Arima is getting the wrong idea, sparking a banter between them. Them and Ruby witness this from the doorframe, and Ruby is glad that things worked out between them. She knows that Aqua is someone who only gets involved with people who provoke him, and she sees a glimpse of his old self while he is with Arima, then thinks about how Akane needs to work harder. The theatrical adaptation of Tokyo Blade became news due to the new actors performing at Theater La La Lai. Akane has been cast, and the need for young and cute faces has also reached Aqua. He would never decline an offer linked to Theater La La Lai since it would bring him closer to finding his father. As Akane and Aqua meet and post about their date on social media, they discuss the roles they got for Tokyo Blade. Both of them have side roles, but they will potentially be a couple in the series. Akane mentions that there is a question about who Aqua's character will end up with. But what's even more interesting is that Akane and Arima are chosen for this love triangle, making it seem very similar to their real lives. This news is broken upon the two by Arima herself as she visits them in the cafe, and warns them not to post their live locations to avoid stalkers. The two girls then engage in a heavily taunting conversation, leaving Aqua baffled by the tension between them. As Arima leaves, chanting that she won't lose to Akane, Aqua notices Akane's is extremely furious and questions how she knows Arima. Akane tells him that they're the same age and that she used to take up all the jobs she wanted as a child star. Now, she is confident in being better and assures Aqua that she won't lose to her. This makes Aqua wonder why all actors are so competitive. As the cast for Tokyo Blade is finalized, everyone starts training hard for their roles. At the same time, Mem works on her streaming, and Ruby finally gets some time to visit Ai's grave. She remembers Ai's words about how Ruby might become an idol one day, while Aqua might become an actor in the future. Aqua stands on his balcony, remembers her words, and feels even more determined to find the person behind Ai's death, no matter what it takes. It is the first day of rehearsals for the stage play. Tokyo Blade and the cast members get to work as they get used to their various roles, with Aqua Hoshino as Taoki, Akane Kurikawa as Princess Seiya, Kana Arima as Tsurugi, Melt Narashima as Kazami, Sakuya Kamishita as Monmi, as well as other minor cast members. Meanwhile, Ruby is standing by her mom's gravestone, deep in thought, while a gentle breeze plays with her hair. She is reflecting on the past few months and is especially somewhat happy about the string of small concerts they have managed to hold. It has been a slow but steady climb, and they have somehow gathered a nice little fan base along the way. Her mind then wanders to her dear twin brother, Aqua. Despite always declaring that he has no interest in acting, he keeps snagging acting gigs when they come through. Ruby is a bit worried because she cannot exactly figure out what he is thinking or what his next move might be. She then immediately recalls that he now has a cute girlfriend who he met and dated thanks to a certain TV show. She is also an actress and would be involved alongside Aqua in the current stage play. However, each time, he usually mentions to Ruby that they were only a couple for work's sake and there are no other strings attached outside of work. Her daydreams shift to her own life as she believes she is doing well at least. She imagines herself on stage at a dome concert, something her mother never got to do, and is even more determined than ever to give her all to being an idol, not just for herself but to honor her mom's dreams too. Meanwhile, back at the rehearsal venue for the stage play, Aqua is knee-deep in the script for their current project, Tokyo Blade. He notices he only shares the screen with Arima in the final scenes, and as he thinks about all of it, his girlfriend, Akane, shows up and interrupts his train of thought, asking if he's bummed about not having more scenes with Arima, also mentioning to him that it seems he is actually getting along quite well with Arima as they both came down to the preliminary meeting together. Aqua grins as he does not agree with Akane. He tells her that it is actually a relief when they both don't perform at the same time because Arima's intensity on set is enough to scare the wits out of anyone. Plus, he enjoys the peace and quiet when she's not around to critique his every move. Akane starts chatting with Aqua about acting and her deep passion for it, clearly in her element, but is taken aback when Aqua casually mentions he has zero passion for acting. For him, he says to her that it is just a way to dig deeper into the mystery and truth surrounding Ai. He lays emphasis on getting close to the leader of the theater company and director of Tokyo Blade, Toshiro Kainechi, as the man might have had some sort of influence on Ai. Akane is stunned because most actors live and breathe their craft, while Aqua views it merely as a tool. Taiki catches up with Arima after they wrap up on set and suggests grabbing dinner together. Arima agrees as she mentions that she has a lot of questions for him, but insists that Melt join them too since the three of them share a lot of scenes. It's a chance to bond over food and talk about their roles. However, let's go back before the rehearsal. Sumiaki Reita, the producer of the show, states that there aren't any poor actors this time. Arima, the one who built her career since childhood, Melt, which he had his doubts after seeing his performance in Sweets today, but he shaped up since then. Aqua, although this is his first play, he was recommended by Kaburagi since his selections has always been the best. Akane, the one who throws herself into the role perfectly, is labeled someone to watch out for. The rehearsal takes place with Arima and Kawa sparking everyone watching. Kawa tells Arima that there isn't no need to hold back, and Arima goes all out, stunning everyone, making it seem as if they are actually in the anime. Akane decides to take notes on their performance, seeing that Arima isn't just all talk. Day 3 of rehearsals rolls around, and the cast trickles in. Some actors are notably absent, juggling other jobs along with acting. Akane notices the cast members forming cliques based on their roles, everyone except her boyfriend, Aqua, who is sitting alone, looking like a storm cloud. She heads over to him and strikes up a conversation. They talk about the fact that she wants to outshine Arima. Despite the friendly chat, Akane is preoccupied with her acting as she thinks she got off to a bit of a bad start. Her character, Princess Seiya, doesn't have a big role in the original material, just being introduced as Tauki's love interest. This limited scope makes it hard for her to develop a rich character analysis, as she notes that the script writer has gone too far in using her for his own ends. She sighs, thinking that Princess Seiya is destined for obscurity, but she resolves to give her best in the role she has been given, since there is nothing more she can do other than to play her part. By day 5, the scriptwriter, Goa, makes an appearance, and Aqua has a hunch it is only because the manga author is also dropping by to see the cast. Akane shares her worries about her character with Aqua, and he pushes her to talk to the director. She hesitates, not wanting to come off as a complainer, so Aqua takes the reins and approaches the director himself, surprising her. He mentions Akane's concerns to him, and the director asks her to elaborate. Nervously, Akane explains that she is struggling to understand Princess Seiya's motives and intentions from the script. The director patiently breaks it down, emphasizing that their job is to bring the source material to life with some creative liberty. He mentions to her that her role is not to express the depth of her emotions, but to be a persuasive stage device that depicts the interpersonal conflicts in a way that will make it easy to understand. However, before the director's explanation of her role, the scriptwriter had reassured her that any part of the script can be revised if it hinders her performance. Later that day, the creator of Tokyo Blade, Abiko-sensei, and Yuriko visit the set to show their support. Abiko watches the rehearsal with interest, but after a while, she stands up, faces the crew, and announces that the entire script needs to be revised. Back to the big day of the preliminary meeting for the stage play Tokyo Blade. Aqua and Arima arrive at the venue together, and as they walk in, they discuss about Lalala, with Arima expressing her surprise that they took on a 2.5D play. Aqua mentions to her that there is no need to be nervous, since they brought in half of the cast from outside their ranks. They meet up with Melt, who tells them what he heard about producer Kaburagi having a hand in the casting of outside actors for the stage play. Melt also takes this time to apologize to Arima, since her face is literally saying, "Please don't let this guy be as useless as he was before." But Melt says that he didn't realize how bad he was until now, and he has shaped up since then. Also saying that if it seems like he's doing bad, please let him know at any moment. The cast members are all gathered, buzzing with excitement as they introduce themselves, and letting everyone know what roles they are going to be playing. Reita strides in, looking like he owns the place because, well, he does. He starts the introduction all over again as he first introduces himself as the big boss of the whole shebang. Then he points out the director, Kin-chan, who looks like he hasn't slept in days, the scriptwriter, Goa-san, who is literally chewing his pen, and Sakuya Kamishida-kun, the 2.5D play veteran who probably knows more about this stuff than anyone else in the room. Reita then concludes by urging them to work in unity to make the Tokyo Blade stage play a success. Kin-chan, our sleep-deprived director, steps up and declares it is introduction day. He is thrilled by the fact that the key players are present, so instead of focusing on only introductions and all, they are going to jump straight into the script reading. He tells the cast to get along and do whatever they please because they are about to spend a lot of time together, and will probably share a lot of awkward silences. He informs them that they will be starting very soon. Akane, full of pep, bounces over to Aqua to say hi. Aqua, however, looks like he would rather be anywhere else aside speak with her. Akane gushes about how happy she is to work with him again, though she admits she was a bit of a handful in their last play. But this time, she tells him that she is there to help him out, no drama this time. Aqua notices her confidence, but Akane insists it's not really confidence because she still has a whole lot to learn. She just wants Aqua to rely on her since they have tons of scenes together in this play. Aqua appreciates her gesture and says to her that he will let her know if anything comes up. Meanwhile, Melt and Arima are doing some serious people watching from across the hall. Melt whispers to Arima that he thinks Aqua and Akane might be dating. He had heard some juicy gossip about them from a reality show they were on. Arima isn't really buying it. She thinks whatever happened on that show was all for the cameras and adds that the fans would not really fancy if they split ways after delivering a great act together, but admits they do seem very close. Melt, however, thinks they are perfect for their roles in this play, almost like they were meant to be. Arima rolls her eyes, saying she hates when people mix up real life and on-stage drama. It's just plain distracting, she says. On another side of this theatrical circus, Yuriko meets up with Abiko-sensei, the creator of Tokyo Blade. They are both munching on some snacks, and Abiko tells Yuriko she wants her to join in watching the rehearsal for the Tokyo Blade stage play in some days. Yuriko agrees, although she is convinced she'll be as useful as yourself. Fast forward to present day rehearsals with Abiko saying she wants the whole script revised. Everyone, including Yuriko, looks like they have just seen a ghost. Abiko starts to explain why she wants changes, but the scriptwriter, already sweating, jumps in and apologizes. He promises to fix whatever's wrong, begging her to tell him what needs changing. Abiko snaps, saying he has included lines the characters would never say or do, and she thinks it is downright disrespectful too. She goes on a tirade, but Yuriko intervenes and takes her outside, hoping to calm her down a bit. She does not get calm as she insists that the scriptwriter is outright incompetent, saying that his script took away the wisdom and made her look like an idiot, further adding that he has got no feel for whole play itself, his revisions miss the mark, and that he does not understand what entertainment entails. Abiko then drops the ultimate ultimatum. She will either rewrite the whole script herself or pull the plug on the play and take back her permission for it to be stage played. She admits that she is even willing to pay the breach of contract fine, which is quite a dramatic move since it is the company that's on the hook for that. She insists she won't take any payment for rewriting and that the scriptwriter should still get paid as agreed initially. Afterwards, the scriptwriter, Goa-san, upon hearing this, feels like he has been hit by a bus and demands his name be removed from the credits as he would not want to take credit for a script written by someone else. Reita pleads with him, saying that he believes he wrote a good script regardless, and after some hard convincing, Goa-san begrudgingly agrees to stay on the credits, mostly because it would be difficult to rewrite all the posters and read the trailer. But you know. Back at his place, Goa-san appears depressed and thinks about all that has happened. His thoughts drift towards the fact that he poured his soul into writing the script so it would be a good play, working day and night with no sleep, but yet at the end, none of it was appreciated. The director gathers the cast and breaks the news. Rehearsals are suspended until further notice. There is a collective sigh, and everyone looks like they've just been told Christmas is cancelled. Ruby is happily talking about getting featured in Playboy to her friends and mentions finally feeling happy that she can include herself in showbiz conversations. However, she seems to forget she isn't doing much work as of now. Frill has a contradictory opinion, saying she'll feel awkward talking about work. Minami agrees that it might come across as bragging. Frill has the most serious expressions when she says how she wants to normally mention getting a dinner invite through actor Dayama's DM, but it is straight up bragging. Ruby realizes she still doesn't have much to relate to others as Minami and Frill start discussing the player nature of that actor. So, currently, Ruby is whining in front of Miyako wanting more work so she can also complain about fellow actors. Woman has got some ambitions. Miyako reminds her that they can continue once Arima's done with her play, but that seems to be a far-fetched thing too as Arima walks in announcing the conflict between staff and the original author halting the shooting. When asked about Aqua, her expressions change to annoyance, indicating where he could be, more like who he could be with. Akane takes Aqua out on a play that he expected to be a boring play since he never liked plays in the first place. However, he ends up dearly enjoying. After the show, he shares his honest opinion about how good he found it, talking about the rotation of the seats, the seamless scene changing, the perfect execution of the story, and how it felt like he was actually in the play. Akane seems to be over the moon for making Aqua happy. Reita catches up to them and shares how he likes to see the reactions of the audience after the show. He also mentions enjoying Aqua's expressions when he came out of the theater, saying that he looked like an old man. Akane gets overexcited asking him to show her those expressions, but as if that guy will ever listen. Aqua asks Reita about the conflict in their play, but the original creator is pretty stubborn. She wants Goa to step down so she can write the script on her own. Aqua shares how she will never be able to execute the script because Tokyo Blade was designed to use the venue's full strengths, which the manga writer can never understand. Reita agrees and proves Goa's skills by pointing out that the show Aqua just watched was written by Goa. But then he shrugs his shoulders, mentioning they don't have much power over this matter. Aqua points out that Reita is the only one who can do something. As Aqua and Akane walk back, Akane shares believing in Goa's scripts. Aqua believes it is just a lack of communication between the manga writer and the scriptwriter, and removing that would easily solve the problems. As an appreciation for the amazing show he just watched, he decides to give things a little nudge on his own and calls Yuriko. The next day, the entire cast visits Yuriko, which is quite a self-invitation provided she only expected her Sweet Today's cast. Still, poor Melt is the online one subject to real-time ghosting by Yuriko. Akane ignores Arima's bragging and proceeds to learn about digital drawing from Yuriko. As they all sit and chat, Yuriko is a little troubled that they are all not the age limit, but that doesn't mean she won't be drinking through this conversation. Upon Akane's asking, Aqua tells her that successful manga artists often become arrogant and don't take anyone's advice other than people from their fields, or better, their mentors, something that Yuriko happens to be for their writer, Abiko Samejima. However, the traumatic way Yuriko describes the busy schedules of weekly manga artists is enough to show how awful their schedules are, because that routine is not for humans. Also, the one who told Aqua is that the guy who lives with his mom, the person he owes his life to. Similar happened to the antisocial Abiko who got hit big time without any setbacks. She considers her opinion the only correct one and has become arrogant under the given pressure. Arima tears up dramatically, sharing how she relates to it and knows how demeaning one becomes letting fame get to their heads. Yuriko apologizes to them for not being able to help with their issue, since Abiko believes trusting the crew too much is what made Yuriko's Sweet Today a flop as a drama, and even though Yuriko doesn't have any regrets, she still respects Abiko's opinion of not wanting her work tampered with. Before leaving, Aqua tells her to give something to Abiko. Entering Abiko's apartment, Yuriko is disappointed with the mess and gets worried about knowing that she doesn't have an assistant because no one works as per her caliber. Doing all the work herself, Abiko still has gone beyond her deadline and is very sleep deprived. Yuriko sits down to help her work. While working, Yuriko confronts Abiko that it is her lack of communication and rude behavior that is not letting her work with others, yet she blames others for not doing well. Abiko once again points out how Yuriko didn't sell as much as her manga. Yuriko is calm at first, but no, she isn't going to be the rational mentor here. She is just taking a moment before lashing out that her monthly manga is more entertaining than Abiko's hit, and then leads the argument by mentioning how she succumbed to popular reader opinion and paired two characters half-heartedly. This actually breaks Abiko's cover and she looks like a whimpering kid complaining about the pressure, and then continues arguing, moving towards lacking social skills, unlike Yuriko. Somehow, that's an issue too. Eventually, Abiko's rant turns to tears about not being able to socialize with others like Yuriko, but Yuriko scolds her to focus on working right now. By morning, both lie lifeless on the ground but apologize to each other for crossing boundaries in the argument. Yuriko shares her disappointment in Sweet Today drama mainly because she loved the manga too much and thinks it deserved better. Yuriko calms her down, telling her she still doesn't have any regrets. Yuriko handed Abiko the envelope Aqua gave, and it had the ticket for the same show he watched, telling her it's a good reference if Abiko plans on writing the play's script. Reita was informed by his assistant that she spotted the famous Tokyo Blade author, Abiko, among a crowd that was leaving. Shocked, Reita quickly asked his assistant to bring Abiko to him while he hurriedly tried to clean his messy room, wanting to show hospitality. A few moments later, Abiko sat across from Reita, who nervously showed her his work. To his dismay, Abiko had no reaction. Her face was blank as she looked at the book in front of her. She seemed disappointed, not finding what she had expected. However, she told Reita that it would be a good reference when she wrote the script for the play. Reita, feeling clumsy and nervous, tried to persuade Abiko with multiple reasons, but she remained quiet. Eventually, Reita got serious, explaining that he was in a vulnerable position. If he didn't maintain good relations with her and the publisher, he wouldn't be able to secure future jobs. Abiko, however, held the rights to the play, and without her permission, Reita couldn't stage Tokyo Blade. After hearing Reita's desperate reasons, Abiko questioned whether he was threatening her. Reita, standing up, firmly told her that he was trying to save the jobs of hundreds of people involved in the play. After a moment of consideration, Abiko agreed to trust in the work of a professional, but only under one condition. Reita and Abiko then spoke with the rest of the team in a virtual meeting, where Abiko and another writer, Goa, agreed to revise the script together. Reita knew that when two creative minds like them collaborated, the result could either be outstanding or lead to tensions. He felt uneasy about the project, thinking things might go wrong, but with no other options and time running out, he decided to let them proceed. As Goa and Abiko worked together, it became clear that Abiko had less experience in stage plays. She admitted this to Goa, but also mentioned that she had seen one of his plays and enjoyed it. This helped ease the tension between them, and they continued revising the script with a growing sense of camaraderie. By the end of the night, after hours of hard work, They finished the new script. Although Rada was still worried, knowing that when creators team up, they often produce something striking, he had no choice but to move forward with the changes due to the tight schedule. At Studio B, where rehearsals were about to begin, some of the actors felt anxious after reading the revised script. Several expository lines had been cut, meaning they would now have to rely more on their body language and movements to convey the story. They feared that if the play failed, the blame would fall entirely on them. However, some of the lead actors admired the new script, feeling that it played to their strengths and talents. With their mentor guiding them, the cast started rehearsing. Akane approached Aqua to offer help since it was his first real play, and he was struggling to strike the right balance in his performance. Suddenly, Arima stepped in and told Akane to stop coddling Aqua. She pointed out that Aqua had never done any emotional acting and needed to face the truth. Akane, defensive of Aqua, snapped back at Arima, telling her that she didn't know Aqua as well as she thought. Surprisingly, Aqua agreed with Arima, acknowledging that he wasn't able to express emotions well on stage. Seeing this, Arima realized she might have been harsh but also knew that if she hadn't told Aqua the truth, no one else would have. Aqua then asked Arima to help him with his emotional acting. Arima suggested that he recall a tragic memory to bring out the right emotions. Just then, she asks Aqua, if your mom were to die, what would you do? The world goes straight black for him after hearing those words. As Aqua followed her advice, he began to panic, remembering the painful past of his mother but manages to hide it from everyone. The rehearsal continued, with everyone working on their parts. While Aqua was trying to remember happy memories to counterbalance the pain, a shadow from his past crept into his thoughts, reminding him that he hadn't been able to save his mother who was right in front of him. Overwhelmed, Aqua collapsed to his knees before quickly leaving the rehearsal. A senior cast member suggested that Akane, as Aqua's girlfriend, should go after him to check on him. Akane found Aqua and asked if she should contact his family, but Aqua refused, not wanting his sister to be reminded of something she didn't need to remember. Aqua then went to Gatanda's studio to rest for a while, needing space to clear his head. Akane, feeling guilty for troubling the director, apologized. She asked if Aqua had ever acted like this before. The director shared that Aqua had gone through a traumatic experience in the past, one that left deep emotional scars. Though Aqua pretended to have fully recovered, the trauma still haunted him. As Aqua rested in the studio, he began to dream about his painful past. Akane sat beside him, quietly thinking about what the director had told her. However, she started putting the dots together, as well as who's really Aqua's mother. When he opened his eyes, he found Akane sitting there, tears streaming down her face. Without a word, she suddenly hugged him tightly, promising that she would always stay by his side, no matter what. As Akane is cooking a meal for them, the director was impressed when Akane mentioned that she had attended cooking classes with her mother. The director's mother leaned in and told Aqua that he shouldn't let Akane slip away because she was both beautiful and hard to find in this industry. Aqua, however, didn't really feel hungry and refused to eat. When Akane tried to feed him, he told her not to treat him like a child, and being the stubborn person he is, he began eating the rice. Akane, however, was determined to help Aqua no matter what. Later, the director showed Akane clips of stage plays where Aqua had acted. The director was a bit surprised though, considering Aqua normally wouldn't let anyone see those clips and intends to keep his work private. But surprisingly, he didn't stop him from showing them to her. As they talked, the director shared that Aqua had a tendency to faint during shoots, like he did earlier that day, and explained that Aqua isn't good at showing his emotions. Despite all this, the director saw Aqua as a talented actor, though Aqua himself wasn't satisfied with his own abilities. That evening, Aqua was staring up at the sky when Akane joined him on the balcony. She asked why he had chosen acting as a career, but instead of answering, Aqua flipped the question back to her. Akane replied that she acted simply because it was fun. Aqua finally opened up, saying that he wouldn't tell her his reason because she wouldn't understand. When Akane made a grumpy face, Aqua softened and asked how she would react if he told her that his reason for becoming an actor was to kill someone. He revealed that the person he wanted to kill was powerful in the entertainment industry, and that his goal was to rise to the top to take them down. Akane, with the face of a killer, tells him that she would help him. Aqua replies that she may be a little out of her mind. She then reminded Aqua that he still had to fulfill his duties as her boyfriend, teasing that she wanted to outshine their rivals, Arima and Imkawa. Determined to beat Arima and Imkawa, Akane and Aqua went to the director for advice. The director suggested they focus on becoming actors who could act exactly as the script envisioned, rather than relying on emotionally powerful performances, since Aqua tends to do acting by relying on his emotions rather than actual acting. He invited Aqua to visit him the next day after rehearsals to work on this. Meanwhile, Melt, another actor, was watching clips of his own acting but wasn't happy with his performance. He heard voices outside and opened the door to find Ruby, Aqua's sister, and her friend standing there. Ruby had come to watch Aqua act, but Melt told her that Aqua had already left with Akane, and that rehearsals were over for the day. Ruby was surprised because Aqua usually came home late. Her friend began joking about how Aqua and Akane must be spending extra time together, which made Ruby uncomfortable since she believed in her brother. She told them that Aqua isn't like that, and if he did, she would despise him with all her heart. She then asked Melt where the bathroom was, but her friend, Minami, was more focused on the earlier comment. She can't shake the feeling she got when Ruby's expression changed after hearing the idea of Aqua and Akane being out at night doing certain things. Suddenly, the actor named Saku approached, noticing Minami and complimenting her, asking if she was an actress too. When she confirmed it, he asked for her number, making her uncomfortable. Just as she was about to give it to him, Melt appeared out of nowhere, calling Saku for an emergency meeting, which saved Minami from an awkward situation. Saku realized afterward that Melt had lied to protect Minami because messing with Aqua's sister friend could harm his career. However, Saku insulted Melt, telling him not to get high over his heels since he's the worst actor at the agency before storming off, leaving Melt questioning his abilities and crying. Ruby, on the other hand, is currently bragging about getting Saku's contact information. But her friends warned her that actors like him were often just playboys and should toss out his number, which she did. The next day, Akane was watching Kana when Kana approached her, asking why she was staring at her. Akane didn't answer clearly, so Kana pulled out an old magazine with interviews of Akane. Akane was shocked because, in one of her interviews, she had said that Kana was her favorite actress. Kana revealed that it was Hankawa who had told her about the interview. Akane, feeling embarrassed, told Kana that her ass is only worldly known for her dumbass bell pepper dance, which of course did some damage to Kana. Akane admitted that she used to admire Kana, which led to Kana teasing her. As the tension between them escalated, it almost turned into a fight. But Aqua and others stepped in to stop them. Afterward, Aqua took Akane outside, and she tells him that Kana irritates her with a passion, and when she was even younger she was even more annoying. Aqua tells her that he also worked with her in the past, and that quickly recalls that he wanted to literally strangle her before. Just as she was about to finish what she was saying about Kana, she pauses and goes to the rehearsals. Meanwhile, Kana was boasting about how much she enjoyed teasing Akane. As Melt mentioned Akane as his girlfriend, Kana told him in a serious look it was only for work. Although Kana doesn't hate Akane, she just couldn't stand how Akane always acts like she is right. Kana asked Hankawa who he thought was better between them. But Hankawa refused to pick a side, saying both were talented in their own features since childhood. He did mention, however, that Kana would probably win in the upcoming project because he was on her side though. As they march onto the stage with powerful commitment, Aqua and Akane decide to go to the director's place for more training, while Melt asks Ruby to help him train. Since earlier, Saku told Melt that compared to those four, he is nowhere near their level. Now the day of the play is here with Abiko and Yuriko nervously preparing for the play. Goa, the script writer, approached and told Abiko that the play would turn out perfectly since they both worked on it together. Abiko, who was shy and had spent most of her youth focused on manga, was nervous around men and hid behind Yuriko. Goa assured her that the play's success would depend on the actors' performances. Inside the theater, Ruby sat proudly in the VIP section, while the director, Kanto, came to see how the play would end. In the backstage, Arima and Akane exchanged challenging glances, with Arima vowing to outshine Akane. Aqua, haunted by memories of his past, looked at a photo of his mother AI, which made him feel sick. As the play began, a sword lay center stage, symbolizing the intense drama that was about to unfold. The stage play begins with a dramatic introduction about a famous war with no clear winner. It centers on the 21 legendary swords scattered across the eastern lands. The story follows a man who obtains one of these swords, and the characters are introduced. The main character is played by Hankawa, while Kana plays the sword guard, who challenges Hankawa's character. In this confrontation, Hankawa's character triumphs. As the next scene unfolds, Kana and Hankawa's characters continue their journey together. Along the way, they encounter another group. After a brief competition, Hankawa's character easily defeats the new group, leading to a friendship forming with one of them, Melt. The second act begins, where Melt takes on a larger role. He faces off against another character, played by Sakuya. Both stand on stage, reciting their lines, while Melt internally compares himself to Sakuya. Both are famous, especially among women, but Sakuya's acting skills are superior to Melt's. This thought weighs heavily on Melt as the fight begins. During the battle, the scene drifts towards the past, where Reita thanked Kangashi for bringing Heya into the play, as his acting is impressive, and also mentioned how he was thankful that he got Kana and Aqua, as their acting skills are amazing. However, he doesn't understand why he bought Melt into this.
Know your
Place trash.
Reida feared that Melt lags behind the others in terms of skill and might ruin the play, and also recalls Melt's poor performance in Sweet Today. Despite this, Reida reluctantly accepted Melt in the play because Masaya believes in him. Masaya reassures Reida that Melt has improved and is no longer the same actor he once was. Reida agrees, acknowledging that only Yuriko, whose show Melt previously ruined, can judge him fairly. Reida also respects those who put in effort, like Melt. Even into a further flashback of Melt's past in middle school. Melt has always been popular because of his good looks, had girls flocking to him, and even when he made fun of others, people laughed. Despite his popularity, Melt wasn't wealthy and thought he could just wing everything, since everything always worked in his favor. The writer of Sweets Today, as she was watching Melt, she despised him, as his acting skills were poor and felt like there were no emotions in his moves. Questioning why would they put in someone with no talent in a play that the creator put so much work into. Melt and Sakuya engage in a brief fight on stage. Melt's acting is noticeably poor, and both Yuriko and the audience begin commenting on it. Even Sakuya is frustrated by Melt's performance, thinking that Melt is ruining the play. Melt, aware of his limitations, reflects on his past performances, realizing that other actors would lower their acting quality when performing with him. Also noticing how bad he was at acting when he rewatched his old performances. While Melt was running with Kana to help him with train and tells her that since his time in Sweet Today, he's been running daily to build stamina. Kana was impressed by his dedication, considering last time it looked like he was just an arrogant boy who thought he knew it all. Melt recalls when he asked Aqua for advice, however Aqua had told him not to worry about what others thought, and suggested he use his bad acting in a creative way. Aqua hinted that if Melt could surprise the audience with something extraordinary, they would forget his mistakes. Melt, initially confused, didn't understand Aqua's advice. However, as the audience began thinking he was a good-for-nothing, Melt suddenly begins performing impressive gymnastics and sword tricks, moves directly inspired by a famous manga called Ditto. And Abiko is beyond thrilled by this unexpected display, as it perfectly matches the manga's challenging choreography. The audience too is stunned by Melt's sudden skill. Aqua and Kana watching from the side, and she asks if he had given Melt this tip, but he denies it, saying he only provided a few suggestions. Nonetheless, Melt's acting has drastically improved, even surprising Sakuya, who had underestimated him. The scene shifts again to a rehearsal flashback where an actor was struggling with his performance. The actor, feeling inadequate compared to his fellow cast members, started observing others, including Akane, who was deeply understanding not only her own character, but also those of others. This made the actor feel even worse, as he hadn't even grasped his own role yet. In a moment of self-doubt, he began cursing his inability to perform. Back in the present, Melt is giving his all in the fight against Sakuya, determined to prove he isn't someone who has to be carried. He reflects on how, even though Sakuya may have spent 10 years honing his skills, Melt refuses to lose easily. Melt remembers the days when his popularity brought him attention from everyone. But despite that, something always felt missing, perhaps the joy of acting, which he's finally rediscovered. The match ends with Melt's character losing, and the entire hall falls silent. Suddenly, the room erupts in applause, and Yuriko is shown praising Melt's performance. Now, Hankawa and Kana's characters make their entrance. Meanwhile, backstage, Melt, initially planning to apologize for something, gets surprised by Sakuya's praising his acting. He acknowledges that Melt's performance during the play was far better than during rehearsals. In the final moments, showing that he even had blisters on his hands from the fight scenes, proving how serious he was taking it. He approaches Aqua and tells him that he finally understands what Aqua meant by his earlier advice. Melt now realizes that through effort and a shift in perspective, he can overcome his shortcomings, and with a smile, he finds the fun in acting once again. While Kana was performing on stage, and her acting was so impressive that when her co-actor made a slight mistake in timing, but Kana covered it up perfectly. The director, watching closely, praised her for her natural talent and exceptional skills. Currently, Kana was acting alongside Sako, who remarked how easy it was to work with her, unlike any actor she'd worked with before. As the play progressed, Aqua and Akane entered the scene. When Abiko, another cast member, saw Akane, she was surprised because Akane's script had been completely changed, and she didn't know what kind of performance to expect. But as Akane started acting, Abiko was blown away by how incredible her performance was. The entire audience was mesmerized as well. The play continued with every actor giving an amazing performance. Soon, the moment came when Kana and Akane were going to share the stage alone for a sword fight. While watching Akane's performance, Kana thought to herself that Akane was acting like she was the right one, commanding the stage. At the same time, Akane couldn't believe she was finally sharing the stage with Kana, since Kana is the reason she became an actress. However, Akane isn't sure if Kana even remembered their childhood past. Into a flashback. Years ago, Kana was on a TV show and Akane had been watching it with her parents. Akane was deeply impressed by Kana's confidence and ability to hold her own, even while working with adult actors. She watched Kana's scenes over and over, becoming a huge fan. When her parents asked what she liked so much about Kana, Akane explained how much she admired her talent. Her parents suggested Akane should try acting too, but Akane dismissed the idea, saying she was too shy and timid. However, with her parents' encouragement and the hope of one day becoming Kana's friend, Akane decided to give acting a shot. She started studying everything about Kana, even cutting her hair to look just like her idol. After some practice, she went to an audition where Kana was also scheduled to appear. Akane was nervous, but she kept reminding herself that this was her chance to meet her idol. At the audition, a man told Akane not to worry because the role had already been decided, which confused her. Suddenly, Kana arrived. The man, clearly intimidated by Kana's presence, quickly left. Akane was shocked to see her idol in person and nervously confessed that she was a big fan. Kana glanced at Akane's outfit, noticing how similar it was to her own style, and listened as Akane started talking about the man's strange comment about the role being pre-decided. Akane expressed her belief that the best actress should get the role, but Kana casually remarked that it might be like match fixing, where the outcome is already decided. Kana then admitted that in the industry, small roles often don't require talent. What mattered was having a famous face to draw attention. This revelation didn't sit well with Kana, but she brushed it off, telling Akane that it didn't matter. When Akane tried to continue the conversation, Kana snapped, blowing Akane's hat off and accusing her of being stupid for wanting to be like her. Kana left abruptly, leaving Akane standing there, crushed and in tears. Devastated, Akane couldn't understand why her idol had been so harsh. She wanted to know what made Kana act this way, so she started researching psychology, trying to make sense of Kana's behavior. Over time, she realized that Kana was scared of losing her relevance. Despite making a lot of money, Kana felt like people were slowly drifting away from her. She wanted to feel needed, but her ego got in the way. Back in the present, Akane, now understanding Kana's struggles, confronted her on stage during their performance. She told Kana that she had been suppressing her talent to fit into other people's expectations, but it was time to stop. Kana was not someone who should be helping others shine, she was a star herself, like the sun. Akane's words stung, but Kana couldn't deny the truth in them. Akane then elevated her acting to an even higher level, trying to provoke Kana into doing the same. Kana could feel the tension rising. She had always believed she was helping the play by giving the spotlight to others, but now she realized that she had been diminishing her own shine in the process. The director noticed the shift too, thinking that Kana, as usual, was pushing the spotlight onto someone else. While Akane was delivering an outstanding performance, the director believed that Kana should focus on improving her own acting rather than letting her ego get in the way. Akane, however, was determined to bring out the best in Kana, trying to force her to compete in acting. As the scene progressed, Kana's mind wandered to her past. She remembered the days when her ego had caused people to turn their backs on her, leaving her completely alone. She wondered what had happened to her passion for acting. Why had it disappeared? Meanwhile, the director continued to think that Kana was intentionally making Akane look better, but Akane was desperate to stop her. She didn't want Kana to fade into the background. She wanted to compete with her, not have her throw away the spotlight. Kana's role in the play ended, and she retreated to the backstage, lost in thought. Akane wasn't happy either. She felt like she had won the spotlight unfairly, and it didn't feel good. Just then, Aqua appeared and told Akane that Kana's acting had frustrated him too. He explained that Kana had been elevating the entire play, and she didn't even realize how good she was. When Kana commanded attention, she shined brighter than anyone. But she often held herself back, which was disappointing. Akane, still pouting, admitted that she wanted to defeat Kana, but she wanted to do it fairly, with everything she had. Aqua smiled and told Akane that if she really wanted to beat Kana, she would have to step up her game even more. With a newfound determination, Akane and Aqua headed back toward the stage, ready to face Kana again. This time, it wasn't about stealing the spotlight, it was about a real, fair competition. Akane wanted Kana to give her best so they could both shine together. As she tells Aqua this, Aqua replies that they just have to drag Kana out of her shell as they march onto the stage. The play was unfolding on stage, with Melt and Sakuya playing their roles. As Sakuya watched Melt act, she commented how his movements had improved, but his acting remained as bad as ever. Meanwhile, Akane was stealing the spotlight with her performance, and Kana, observing her from backstage, couldn't take her eyes off her. Hankawa, standing beside Kana, casually remarked that she hadn't done much in the play so far. Kana responded that if everyone hogged the spotlight, the play would be ruined. Someone had to adjust, and that was her role. Curious, Kana asked Hankawa what he was up to, noticing he was holding his glasses in the air while reading the script. Himekawa explained that the makeup artist wouldn't let him wear his glasses because they'd mess up his makeup. Kana suggested he try contact lenses, but Himekawa refused, admitting he was scared of them. Kana teased him, saying that without them, he wouldn't be able to read others' expressions on stage, which was vital for acting. But Himekawa shrugged it off, claiming that, from the audience's perspective, body movements mattered more than facial expressions since most people couldn't see those small details clearly from far away. Kana found him odd but didn't push the matter. She then noticed Himekawa rereading the script and asked why. He warned her that if she didn't step up her game, Akane would outshine her. Though this upset Kana, she didn't show it. Himekawa also mentioned that he was planning to add an unscripted scene to the play and asked Kana to cover for him. Kana scoffed, confidently replying, "Who do you think I am?" The two headed toward the stage to continue the performance. As the play continued, the tension rose as the moment came for Aqua and Himekawa's characters to face off in a dramatic duel. From the audience's perspective, it was a gripping showdown. But for Himekawa and Aqua, it was a battle for the spotlight. Himekawa's acting was explosive, his emotions burning brightly like fire, while Aqua's performance was cold and distant, like ice. The contrast was stark, and an actor watching from backstage remarked how Himekawa's passionate performance was consuming everything around him. In the middle of their intense battle, Himekawa suddenly blocked an attack and pushed Kana into Aqua's arms, catching everyone off guard, including Kana, who was shocked and silently cursing Himekawa in her mind. Aqua, understanding what was happening, played along and delivered a line, saying that Kana, as a woman, didn't belong on the battlefield. He spoke about how her body was too delicate for combat, and it was a man's duty to protect her. Kana realized Aqua was pushing her into the spotlight. The play's director was equally surprised since this wasn't part of the script. But Kana knew that actors could communicate through their body movements, and Aqua was telling her to seize the moment. Aqua was giving her the space to shine, and this filled Kana with happiness. She started reminiscing about her early days in acting, remembering how her mother had pushed her into the entertainment industry to live out her own dreams of fame. Her mother's ambition got Kana into the industry by networking with important people and hosting extravagant parties. As a child, Kana had been praised as a prodigy, but as her popularity faded, her mother became desperate, resorting to extreme measures to keep Kana relevant. Kana also remembered how her father had cheated on her mother, which devastated her family. Her mother's obsession with fame grew, and she changed drastically. Teishi, a director, had once warned Kana that if she didn't learn to coexist with others in the industry, she would fade away. Kana realized that the industry valued fame and money over acting skills, which is why she scolded Akane during their first encounter as children. She had learned to survive by letting others shine, playing a supportive role. She found joy in seeing others enjoy acting, but now Aqua was behind her, giving her the spotlight she usually gave to others. Kana hesitated, thinking that by stepping into the spotlight, she would lose herself. But Aqua reassured her that wasn't the case. Everyone around her wanted to see her perform, and after hearing this, Kana was shocked. She hadn't realized that people still wanted to see her act. With this newfound confidence, she decided to unleash her full acting potential. For the first time in a long while, Kana was no longer holding back. She took not only the spotlight she usually gave to others but also pulled the attention of everyone on stage toward herself. Her acting reached a level so high that even the other actors were left speechless, watching in awe. Kana shone brighter than she ever had, and Akane, watching her, felt a wave of emotions. Memories of her childhood idolizing Kana rushed back, and she was overwhelmed with happiness. She shouted Kana's name, telling her that this was the Kana she had always admired, the Kana she had wanted to surpass. The present Kana was glowing like the sun, and Akane was thrilled to see her childhood hero back at her best. However, Aqua, watching from the side, couldn't feel the same joy. He knew Akane and Kana were enjoying the moment, but he couldn't share in their happiness. Aqua had always acted for a single purpose: revenge. The final act of the play was approaching, where Akane's character was mortally wounded by Himekawa's character. Seeing Akane's character injured triggered something deep within Aqua's mind. His character, devastated by Akane's injury, was supposed to give up fighting, but Aqua was lost in a memory. He remembered being with Teishi, who had given him advice about acting and emotions. Aqua had read books about trauma, learning about his own triggers. Teishi had known Aqua's trigger point well. He would lose himself if he started enjoying acting too much. Because of this, Teishi had suggested that Aqua stop acting and seek help. But Aqua refused. His only goal in acting was revenge for AI, and nothing else mattered. Teishi had warned him that if Aqua couldn't control his trauma, it would consume him. But Aqua didn't care. For him, acting was the only way to achieve his revenge. So Teishi warns him if he wants to continue acting, he cannot enjoy it at all. As these thoughts swirled in his head, Aqua's character suddenly lashed out at Himekawa's character in a rage. The fight took a dangerous turn, and Aqua's sword seemed to bend in mid-air, but it didn't stop. The blow landed, and everyone on stage and in the audience was shocked. Aqua had went fully in on his acting, but for him, nothing else mattered. The only thing driving him was revenge. With that, the play reached its climax, leaving the audience stunned and the actors surprised. While filming a scene, a memory suddenly hit Aqua. I once told him, "Your acting is good." It seemed casual at the time, almost unsettling in her quirky way. But when she went on to say how truly talented he was, it stuck with him. That moment meant everything. Back in the present, Aqua was locked in a gripping scene with Himekawa. Every move, every emotion felt real. His frustration, his rage, the depth of his pain, it all poured out in his performance, leaving even Kana stunned by how far he'd come. But then the past crept back in. His greatest failure, he couldn't save Ai. That regret haunted him. No matter how much he longed for peace, he knew he wouldn't get it until he made the one responsible suffer. He didn't just want justice, he wanted vengeance. As Aqua pushed through the scene, he realized it wasn't just the script driving him. It was his own pain. Deep down, he just wanted to hear Ai's voice again. The weight of that wish broke him open. Real tears spilled, raw and unfiltered. And in that moment, his performance soared. When the fight ended, the cast shifted focus, reviving Akane's character. She had died saving others, and now Aqua's role was to bring her back, by crying with hope. And this time, the tears came naturally. To summon real emotion, Aqua pictured an impossible dream. His younger self running toward Ai's, alive and smiling. That vision broke something in him. Tears streamed down his face as he delivered the most powerful moment of the play. Even Akane was left speechless by the raw depth of his performance. When the curtain fell, the cast gathered backstage. Everyone praised Akane, calling her Miss Genius, a title that caught her off guard. But instead of pride, she broke down in tears. Deep down, she didn't believe she was a genius. She had only just come to terms with who she really was. Kana, drained from the intense filming, grew irritated knowing she'd have to redo the scene. Ruby tried to lift her spirits, admitting she didn't know much about acting but still thought Kana was amazing. She even called her a genius. Kana smiled at the compliment but quickly denied it. In her mind, she was just another actress trying to keep up. If anyone was a genius, it was Akane. Elsewhere, Masaya and Kadachi were relieved the play went smoothly despite the chaos. They thanked director Kenchai for helping elevate the Lalai cast to stardom. Kadachi admitted pulling everyone together had been tough. Most were already busy with other dramas. But some actors stand out no matter what. Like Kana. Then Kenchai asked the question on everyone's mind, who had the brightest future? He believed it was Akane. Meanwhile, Reita quietly observed the audience, taking in their smiles. His assistant interrupted to say the publisher was calling, but Reita barely noticed. He was still caught up in the joy the play had brought. Everyone looked satisfied, except Aqua. He'd just received his DNA results, and whatever he saw had drained the color from his face. The play was performed several more times, and the writers, Goa and Abiko, were thrilled with the results. On the final day of filming, the cast and crew planned a celebratory dinner. Akane picked the restaurant, and though Kana was too exhausted to go, she changed her mind the moment she heard Aqua would be there. At dinner, the mood was light. Minors enjoyed the food while the adults had drinks. But Aqua had only one thing on his mind, Kadachi. He remembered something Masaya once said, that Ai's used to like someone, though she never said who. Aqua wanted answers. He sat beside Kadachi and casually asked how long he'd been with Lalai. Kadachi explained the group started as a small acting class before becoming a full production company. He was one of the founding members, and in the early days, money was tight. Aqua pressed for more, but Kadachi brushed him off, telling him not to get involved. Before things got tense, Himekawa jumped in and offered to take Kadachi to another bar. Aqua followed. At the bar, Kadachi drank heavily while the waitresses, aspiring actresses, tried to network for roles. Himekawa explained they often worked under the radar of their agencies. Aqua subtly asked a waitress to bring juice, and Kadachi suddenly turned to Himekawa, calling him ungrateful for not drinking with his mentor. Aqua took the chance to dig deeper, asking about their relationship. Himekawa revealed he grew up in an orphanage until Kadachi took him in. Kadachi explained that people who start with nothing tend to absorb everything around them, and both Himekawa and Aqua had that in common. Then Kadachi praised Aqua's final performance, noting how he struggled with emotions at first but eventually mastered them. He jokingly called Himekawa a cheater again before passing out from the alcohol. Himekawa apologized for not getting more answers, but Aqua didn't mind. He pulled out the DNA test. Himekawa read it, shocked. They were half-brothers, same father. Aqua looked him in the eye and asked, "Who is your father?" Aqua and Himekawa have an intense conversation about their shared past. It begins when Aqua confronts Himekawa, asking about their father. Both of them are shocked by the revelation that they share the same father, and Himekawa, surprised, suggests they talk somewhere more private. They decide to head to Himekawa's house and take Kendechi along, settling him into a room before continuing their discussion in the living room. Himekawa expresses his disbelief that Aqua went as far as getting a DNA test done to confirm their connection. He suspects Aqua might have known about their father for a while. Himekawa then asks Aqua about his mother, but Aqua, still guarded, refuses to share any details. Respecting his choice, Himekawa doesn't push him and instead asks if Aqua knows a girl named Iri. Aqua responds that he knows of her, as she was once a popular figure in the entertainment industry. That's when Himekawa shows Aqua a shocking article about Iri's suicide. Iri had killed herself along with one of her lovers, who Himekawa reveals was none other than their father, Seijiro Urahara. Hearing this leaves Aqua utterly devastated, as he had been driven by a desire for revenge against his father, only to learn that he had died long ago. His purpose suddenly seems meaningless. Himekawa then comments that he's 17 years old, meaning their father was already married when he was involved with Iri. Himekawa speculates that their father's ties to the entertainment industry might have led to his secretive and scandalous behavior. While Himekawa admits to hating their father since childhood, he notes that Aqua might be following in his footsteps, especially with his relationships with both Akane and Kana. Aqua denies this, but Himekawa warns him that if he doesn't choose between the two, he could end up repeating their father's mistakes. As their conversation winds down, Himekawa offers to answer any more questions Aqua might have, but Aqua declines. Himekawa jokes about how strange it is to have a younger half-brother and tells Aqua to avoid calling him Big Brother, which Aqua flatly refuses to do. The next morning, Aqua returns home, only to be met by Ruby, who yells at him for staying out so late. Aqua explains that he was with Himekawa, and Ruby, who had assumed Aqua was with a girl, calms down. Her thoughts drift to their father, and she wonders if Aqua might be turning out like him. With their father dead and Ai's killer also gone, Aqua is left questioning his next steps. Before he can dwell on it, Aqua gets a call from Kana. She angrily asks where he disappeared to during a party the previous night. Aqua tells her he was with Himekawa and the director, but Kana, still frustrated, gives him an earful before hanging up. Aqua checks his messages and sees a text from Kana where he had warned her not to drink because she's not the age limit. This leads Aqua to question whether he should try to live a freer and happier life. Meanwhile, Ruby, Kana, and Cho are talking about their YouTube channel. Cho is thrilled that she's gained over 20,000 subscribers, but Ruby and Kana aren't satisfied. They want millions. Cho, a bit irritated, reminds them that they're already more successful than 75% of creators. Ruby and Kana, however, are set on being at the top, which frustrates Cho. They tease Cho, pointing out that she's also a top YouTuber, but Cho has an idea for a video, a room tour. Ruby loves the idea, having seen similar videos, but Kana is hesitant. She doesn't want to sell her privacy for views. However, when Cho suggests they could buy things for the video and claim them as business expenses, Kana quickly agrees. The room tour begins, and it's revealed that Kana's room is filled with expensive items, including a gaming PC she doesn't even use. Ruby and Cho are surprised by Kana's lavish lifestyle, but Kana explains that she's smart with her money, which allows her to afford such luxuries. Kana points out that, as people in the entertainment industry, they need to live in high-security apartments to protect themselves from fans. Ruby gets a little anxious about this, but Kana suggests they could film her car purchase and give viewers tax-saving tips, as she has many tricks. Ruby is surprised that Kana knows so much about taxes, and Cho tries to scare her by mentioning how complicated taxes can get. When the camera shifts to Ruby's room, we see a wall covered in posters of Ai. Ruby reflects on her connection to Ai, wondering if she's doing the right thing by keeping her mother's memory so close. She wants to follow in Ai's footsteps but feels conflicted about her path. In the past, Ruby had called the hospital where Aqua used to work in his previous life, only to find out that Aqua had disappeared. She fell into shock, wondering what had happened to him. The next day, the group discusses their plans for growing their channel. They decide to upload regular videos and even a music video, though the cost will be high since it'll be shot on location. Ruby gets excited, especially when they hear that a songwriter, who had worked with Ai, might be writing the song. Aqua becomes alert at the mention of this songwriter, thinking it could be his chance to learn more about Ai. Kana notices Aqua's distracted mood and asks him about it. Aqua brushes it off, but Ruby is excited to sing the new song. However, when the song doesn't arrive on time, Ruby becomes stubborn, insisting that things need to move quickly. Kana, too, is serious about her acting, and Cho jokes that she'll look like a teenager in 5 years. Ruby's determination makes the songwriter start working again, inspired by the video Ruby sent, where she expressed her admiration for his past work. Aqua, sitting quietly, is asked by Ruby if he'll join them for the music video shoot. The location is the same place where Aqua worked in his previous life and where he died. Initially, Aqua refuses, but when Ruby asks for his help, He agrees. Kana, however, is the most excited, thinking she'll get to spend time with Aqua. Just as they prepare for the shoot, a mysterious girl is shown, smiling at them from afar. Aqua agrees to join Kana and the others on their trip, which will last 2 nights and 3 days. Kana, excited but a little flustered, asks Aqua if he's packed his suitcase yet. Aqua nonchalantly replies that he'll just use an old suitcase lying around the studio, which makes Kana burst into a rant. She explains that for an idol, having a proper suitcase for filming in provincial areas is essential. But Aqua, uninterested in her rant, cuts her off and tells her that he'll meet them at Shinjuku Station's east exit at 4 p.m. Kana, now left on her own, scrambles to pick out the perfect outfit that she thinks will match Aqua's taste. She tries on multiple styles, imagining how each one would look, but ends up running late despite starting 2 hours early. As she races to the station, she fears Aqua might make a snide remark about her tardiness. At a traffic stop, she receives a message from Aqua, who tells her he's waiting at a nearby coffee shop. The text brings a smile to her face, and she rushes to meet him. When she arrives, Kana enters the coffee shop, hurriedly making excuses about her taxi getting caught in traffic. Aqua, who's calmly reading a book, doesn't seem bothered by her lateness. He has already ordered her a coffee, which she gratefully accepts as she sits down. After their coffee, Aqua asks Kana about stores that sell rolling suitcases, since he needs one for the trip. Kana, distracted by her thoughts, tries to pay for the coffee but is caught off guard when Aqua steps up and pays the bill before she can. Shocked and feeling embarrassed, Kana starts to cry, lamenting how she was just about to pay. They head to a department store to pick out a suitcase for Aqua. After browsing through several options, Aqua chooses a white suitcase, which makes Kana blush. The color reminds her of her glow stick, the one fans use at her concerts. Curious, she almost asks Aqua why he chose that color but holds back. Aqua then takes her handbag and places it on his suitcase, which makes Kana blush again. She lightly complains, saying that a handbag is an essential part of a girl's fashion, and it's inappropriate for him to take it. Aqua, however, brushes off her complaints and tells her to quiet down. As they head out of the store, Aqua is about to leave, but Kana, not wanting their time together to end, stops him by saying she's feeling hungry. Aqua agrees to eat with her and takes her to a nearby restaurant. The place is fancy, and Kana worries they won't get a table without a reservation. However, Aqua surprises her by walking up to the receptionist and confirming a reservation he had already made. Kana, shocked, starts teasing Aqua, saying he's suspiciously good at treating girls, almost too practiced. Aqua, focused on his meal, stays calm, and Kana eventually admits that Aqua is better at this than she thought. As they continue talking, Aqua mentions that he grew up in a family that runs a talent agency, which impresses Kana even more. She feels like Aqua is genuinely trying to make their time together special. Curious about his relationships, Kana suddenly asks Aqua about Akane. Aqua pauses, his utensils frozen, before he tells her that he will give her a clear answer. He admits that he never intended to get involved romantically with anyone, but now he's reconsidering that decision. Kana agrees, saying that everyone has the right to love freely. After finishing their meal, Aqua had already called a taxi for Kana, and as the car pulls up, she finds herself in shock. Her thoughts spiral, wondering if Aqua might take her somewhere for the night. Blushing and flustered, she's both impressed and nervous. But to her surprise, Aqua simply drops her off at her home, leaving Kana to reflect on their day together. She changes her clothes, lies down on her beanbag, and looks at some photos while thinking about Aqua's words. Meanwhile, Aqua is with Akane, taking photos of her. Aqua asks her about the filter she's using, thinking it might ruin the image, but Akane explains that it enhances the photo. Aqua sips his drink and starts thinking about his relationship with Akane. His goal of finding his father is over, and he realizes he no longer needs to keep Akane close for that purpose. He can't keep a young girl with a bright future tied to him forever. Akane talks about her family's usual vacations, and Aqua notices she comes from a good background. He invites her to join them on the upcoming Miyazaki trip, as he wants to talk things over with her. Akane realizes what Aqua means, he's thinking of breaking up with her. Although she's hurt inside, Akane maintains a smile on the surface. As they walk around that evening, Akane reminisces about the good memories they've shared, and Aqua explains that he can't hold her back anymore, especially since their relationship began on a stage. Akane, feeling vulnerable, asks Aqua if he no longer needs her, wondering if she had ever been helpful to him. She already knew from the start that Aqua had a calculating side and suspected he was using her in some way. They stop at a bridge, standing with their backs facing each other when suddenly Akane hugs Aqua from behind. She reminds him that this is the same place where he saved her once before and that it wasn't for any selfish reason. She wasn't put off when he kissed her because she knew he had a kind heart. Aqua, shocked by her words, listens as Akane confesses that she wouldn't be against a physical relationship with him. Aqua breaks his silence, telling her that she's falling for his deception. Akane, confused and frustrated, starts yelling at Aqua, demanding that he explain everything. She accuses him of thinking that relationships have no value without being physical, but Aqua denies this. He tells her that while he does have desires, that's not what their relationship is about. Aqua asks Akane if she truly has feelings for him, and though she hesitates, Akane eventually yells that she does. She admits that she's never dated anyone before and is unsure of what kind of relationship they have. Aqua opens up to her, revealing that he wanted to kill his father but can't anymore because he's already dead. He tells her about the DNA tests he conducted, costing him millions of yen, and how he discovered that Himekawa is his half-brother. Now that his father is gone, Aqua feels free to live his life, but Akane realizes that Aqua has missed a simple loophole. She fears that if he figures it out, he'll dive back into his search for revenge. The next day, Ruby is seen praying at her mother's grave before leaving for the Miyazaki trip. After she leaves, a strange man approaches Ai's grave. It's her father, visiting in secret. Amami is chilling on the rooftop, catching some air, when Serena rolls in with her signature sunshine smile, strapped into her little wheelchair. Without skipping a beat, he grabs the handles and takes her for a joyride. She laughs, and for a second, there is light in the little girl's life. Presently, Ruby is glued to her iPad. She calls Humura a genius. The vocals are wild, and she's hyped for their upcoming show. Kana, on the other hand, is spiraling. She says the other two are so good at singing it makes her feel guilty. Ruby tells her to chill, and Memcho tosses in, "We've got auto-tune and software for that, babe." Nothing can stop her from being Hannah Montana. As Memcho heads out, she gets a call. It's about Bikamatch's first original song. All they need now is a strategy to make it go viral. The girl on the line says, "Let's shoot it near a river, it's aesthetic and barely needs prep." Memcho shrugs. If the vibes are right, they're right. She agrees as she doesn't say no to talented weirdos with a vision. Later, Kana's at the airport when she spots another suitcase next to hers. She is internally screaming as it's Akane's. It turns out she's tagging along. Kana is not thrilled about flying with her romantic rival. Aqua calmly reminds her that this was her idea, this whole bonding road trip thing. Kana is still sulking. Ruby, on the other hand, is in love. She says Akane is so pretty and cool that she wants to call her big sister. She literally can't process how a 10 by 10 baddie like Akane is dating her emo potato of a brother. She wonders if he's blackmailing her or anything. Aqua sighs, silently wondering what kind of criminal she thinks he is. Memcho catches Kana in a corner, crying because she wanted to be the big sister of the group. Memcho wonders which team she's even supposed to root for. The flight, surprisingly, is chill. No catfights, no flying drinks, just excited idle chilling. They land in a peaceful town wrapped in mountains, myths, and way too many demon statues. The whole squad goes into selfie mode. Aqua, though, goes quiet. This is his hometown, the place where his old life ended, where he used to wear scrubs instead of Hot Topic t-shirts. They're greeted by Anemone, the video director. She vibes instantly with the crew, blending in like she's been part of the squad since episode 1. Ruby spots a crow sitting on a demon statue, staring into her soul. Anemone stares back like the crow owes her money. Kana asks why she's based her company out in the middle of nowhere. Anemone explains she does all the 3D effects herself and nature keeps her brain from melting. She's even flirting with going vegan. She starts rambling about a goddess who protects entertainers, and Aqua casually drops that she was defied at a shrine nearby. Anemone is surprised he knows about it, and Aqua goes, "Yeah, even Tony Stark came here to pray to become a Hollywood wonder." Kana wants to check out shrines, but Anemone yanks her back to reality. They've got 2 music videos to shoot and 0 extra time. She hauls the girls away, leaving Aqua and Akane behind. Akane suggests they go sightseeing. Aqua says no as he has somewhere else to be. The hospital where he and Ruby were born, where he once wore a name tag that read Dr. Amamiya. They roam the town snapping Instagrammable pictures, then head to the hospital. Aqua asks the receptionist about a doctor named Amamiya. She blinks, says there's no one by that name. No record, like he was never real. He leads Akane down a wooded path behind the building. He remembers AI walking down that same trail, glowing with excitement before giving birth. He remembers following her, half doctor, half obsessed fanboy. He also remembers the killer, standing there like a statue, just waiting to make his move. Akane gently brings him back with a smile. He tells her to head back. She says she'll go wherever he goes, even if her legs are shaking like jello from all the emotional tension. They reach the cliff. Aqua asks what would happen to a body if it fell from there and no one looked for it for 15 years. Akane thinks he's talking about a dog and answers like it's a pet cue and if it's buried, it's there. If not, wildlife would turn it into a buffet. She finds it cute that he's still thinking about a childhood pet. He doesn't correct her. Eventually, they reach an abandoned house. The place gives off horror game tutorial energy. Akane asks why they're there. Aqua says this is where someone he knew used to live. That someone was him. Goru Amamiya, a kid whose mom died giving birth, whose dad vanished for milk and never came back. Raised by grandparents. Grandma was warm. Grandpa was ice. Blamed him for everything. He remembers deciding to become a doctor not because of trauma but because doctors looked cool. His grandma said it was sweet. Maybe it was. He recalls working late nights, checking in on Serena, the terminal girl. The day he was told her parents wouldn't show up broke something in him. She gave him an idle keychain showing AI, telling him to treasure it. It was her last memento. A crow watches from afar. A voice wonders if fate dragged 2 orphans to AI, a woman who gave birth to soulless reincarnations. Itachi's little sister watches too. Red hair, white eyes, surrounded by crows. Like she's waiting for the next act. Meanwhile, the girls are filming. Anemone films them snacking, laughing, being teens for once. Then she asks Kana to turn like she's facing her crush. Kana hits the smile perfectly. Anemone teases her. Nemcho says the girl's a natural. The production team is huge, lighting, makeup, wardrobe. Kana whispers that while idols may get paid in peanuts, this shoot alone is costing $500,000 yen. Bless the producer's wallet. Memcho's chilling on the side, not allowed to film past 10 because of minor labor laws. She's cranky and ready to crash. Kana walks in, looking like a walking photo shoot, and asks what they think of her dress. Akane walks up, scans her, and says it's all wrong. She grabs Kana, tightens ribbons, adjusts folds, and steps back. Declares it passable. Kana turns to Aqua asking him if she looks cute. He mutters, passable, which causes her to crash out. She tells him to be honest next time. Akane notes that Kana's acting has been on fire lately. It's like she actually wants this. Then, almost like an afterthought, she tells Aqua to stop being seen in public with her. She doesn't want another Diddy-level scandal. Idols don't get the same PR treatment as actors. Aqua agrees. The thought of Ai's fate flickers through his mind. He asks her to watch over Ruby for now. She nods. Later, Ruby's playing with a crow that suddenly steals her keychain. She and Akane chase it through the woods. Ruby says she likes someone and wants to become a great idol and meet him again. She really wants to marry him. That someone is none other than Amamiya. The crow leads them to a shrine, then to a tunnel hidden behind it. What they find isn't a nest. It's bones. A skeleton with broken glasses, a grimy lab coat, and a keychain Ruby gave away in another life. She freezes. The light in her eyes starts fading as the man she loved is lying there, gone, and she doesn't know what to do with the weight of it. The police finally uncover Amamiya's dead body. The whole crew is visibly shaken due to the gruesome scene. The director leads Ruby back to the inn, telling her that they can cancel the shoot if she's shaken. But she decides to throw herself into her work to distract herself, saying that she can handle it. The director, however, is worrying about her. She's not her usual self. Ruby quietly goes into her room and notices that Akane is still not back. Speaking of Akane, she is sitting on a bench with Aqua under the starry night. Aqua apologizes for making her experience something so awful and blames himself for asking her to tag along. Because of him, she had to see something so dreadful. Akane tells him that it doesn't matter. She quietly gets up and tells him that he is trying to shoulder everything on his own and he should stop blaming himself for trying to protect everything on his own. According to the police, it's a murder case and it's the murderer who's at fault. So why is he trying to shoulder a responsibility? Aqua, however, reveals that he's been using her all this time. He's been feeding her information during the trip by leading her to the hospital and the woods. He wanted her to find the corpse. This shocks her. He says that he thought it would be best if the corpse was left undiscovered, though it might have been better for everyone, but he secretly wanted someone to discover it. He bows his head thanking her for finding it for him. Akane looks at the broken and vulnerable boy in front of her saying that he's not going to be able to find it. She says that it's not his fault and she didn't do anything. She just stumbled across him. He also apologizes for using her all of this time trying to uncover the murderer and the corpse and using her like a drug-sniffing K9 unit. But she smiles saying that she can finally reveal her true feelings. She tries to break up with him saying that this is the time they should say their goodbyes and he will be better off without her. and it will be painful for him, but it turns out it's painful for her in reality. Tears start streaming down her eyes and emotions overwhelm her chest. She quickly turns away, trying to hide her tears from Aqua, saying that during the trip she wanted to part ways on a happy note, and she had promised herself she would not cry, but it seems that she can't even keep her promise. She starts breaking down into a blubbering mess. Scenes from their relationship start flooding her mind and her emotions turn into a vortex threatening to consume her. Aqua wipes her tears away and realizes he should have said it sooner. His revenge is over, and now that the corpse has been found, he is at peace. He gently leans in and kisses her on the lips, expressing his feelings in a way that no words could. The starry sky witnesses the birth of their new beginning. Meanwhile, things are not going well for Ruby. She's restless and turns to Akane for comfort, but Akane is sleeping, so she decides to go on a morning walk right through the snow-covered forest. She stands on a rooftop and recalls scenes from her last life. The white-haired girl tells her that she should be more careful. After all, she took that keychain from a corpse. Ruby is not in the mood to argue with a sassy lost child, but the white girl reveals that she knows something that she wants. She is in the mood to argue with a sassy lost child, but the white girl reveals that she knows something that she wants. Anemone tells everyone that things were difficult for them to process and that today they'll be filming outdoors, but if Ruby isn't feeling well, she can take the day off. But Ruby decides to process her grief by throwing herself into work. She's constantly zoning out, and later they are driven to the outdoor side by their director. Kana complains about shooting outdoors. They always have to wear ridiculous out-of-season outfits like little swimsuits in the dead of winter and jackets in the burning summers. Ruby doesn't contribute much and recalls her conversation with the white-haired child who told her that the famous idol gave birth, and that's the day when the doctor went missing as well. She also revealed that two mysterious figures were hanging around the hospital. One of them turned out to be the fan who murdered AI in her condo. Ruby wants to know who the second person is, but the white girl mysteriously says that it's for her to find out and uses her crows to disappear with a genjutsu. Kana is the first one to be filmed and she waddles into the lake beautifully, but as soon as the shooting is done, she quickly hurries back, trying to dry her feet as it's cold as hell. Anemone analyzes the group. Kana is the most enthusiastic of them all and grabs intention. Like an 11-year-old Chinese student attending a quantum physics lecture. She's as cute as a button. She enthusiastically starts editing the video, but Ruby is still in a daze. The crew tells her to be ready. Anemone looks at her thinking that she has the prettiest face of them all, but she's not interested in acting and wants to be an idol. It's as if she's trying to walk in someone else's shoes. Everyone stands in front of Ruby, but Ruby looks at the cascading waterfall. She can't wrap her head around the fact that a murderer is on the loose and two innocent people have died. She feels the unfairness of the world crushing her spirits, and Anemone looks at her in surprise, noticing an expression she has never seen on an idol's face before. Anemone is the very picture of tragedy, with raven feathers falling around her. Later, the girls celebrate the end of this whole operation. Now that the shooting is done, they can kick back and relax. Anemone says that she will deliver the video shortly, but she wants to take her time with the second one. Later, Akane is sitting all alone in a hot bath, wondering about all the strange and mysterious things that have been happening around her. It's as if a single thread connects them all. Shijun thinks about her relationship with Ruby and Aqua, and speaking of Aqua, she recalls their little case and realizes they are now an official couple. Kana arrives and points out that her face is as red as a tomato. Kana tells Akane that she is a bit jealous of her acting career and how amazing she is. She has everything figured out. She is a very good actress. Akane tells her that a win is a win, and she also tells her that she should stop this fake relationship with Aqua. Akane narrates the story of how Akane and Kana are in love and how they are in love with each other. Akane tells Akane that she should stop this fake relationship with Aqua and how she is in love and how she is in love with each other. Akane nervously reveals that their relationship is not so fake anymore. This causes Ruby's face to turn as white as a sheet of paper. Akane hurriedly tries to leave, saying that she has something urgent to tend to. She later returns to her room and finds Ruby waiting for her in the futon. She asks Akane if she knows who his brother is looking for by trying to be an actor. He's been working for the director ever since he was a kid. Akane reveals that he just wants to meet someone in show business, and he wants to be so successful that the guy has to meet him. Ruby coldly wonders who it is. Ruddy has gone full Yandir, with her eyes wide open and full of danger. Akane realizes she shouldn't reveal much about their little scheme. It will create unnecessary problems. She tries to go with a make-up story that it's someone he likes. Ruby tries to accept her phony story. The clock continues to tick and the whole world is asleep except for Ruby. Later, the whole group meets up at the shrine. Little wooden plates holding prayers are hanging all around, and anyone who bangs it with a mallet will get their prayers answered. They all line up in front of a statue ready to make a little prayer. While everyone prays for success in their acting careers, Ruby just prays that her brother finds out the murderer responsible for putting an end to their mother. Her eyes gleam with darkness and the familiar white-haired girl listens to her prayers from above. The video finally arrives and it is spectacular with amazing effects, nice choreography, and dazzling beauty. It turns into a wonder, a sensation throughout the world, and it opens many doors for all three members of the Bikamachi. Some give interviews and some are broadcasted on live TV shows. The year rolls on and they're finally back at school, and this is the year where everyone's story will make great developments. That concludes the anime recap for now. As always, if you enjoyed, let me know down below and I'm out.